FIVEaa, Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Partly cloudy today and a top of 21 with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
National Cabinet will come together today. Mass COVID vaccination centres, state distribution plans and the latest advice on the AstraZeneca formula will be discussed. State and federal leaders have agreed to meet fortnightly to get the vaccine rollout back on track. The majority of Australians still want to get a COVID vaccine despite the AstraZeneca controversy. 3 in 4 respondents to a Roy Morgan poll say they plan to get the jab or have already had it. The survey was conducted before the death of a New South Wales woman last week. For the first time in more than a year, Australians can now travel to New Zealand without having to quarantine. Nine's Harry Spicer says the two-way travel bubble kicks off today.
International borders were slammed shut the moment COVID-19 became a serious global threat. With both Australia and New Zealand now having the virus under control, a travel bubble has been established, allowing people to cross the Tasman provided they don't have symptoms and aren't waiting on a test. Kiwis have been able to travel to Australia since late last year, but the New Zealand government hasn't allowed visitors until now. The travel bubble is expected to provide a valuable shot in the arm for the tourism industry and reunite many families.
Adelaide hosted a major movie premiere last night. It was the first screening of Mortal Kombat, which was shot in Adelaide and regional SA in 2019. Moviegoers at Marion giving the film the thumbs up ahead of its release later this week. The UK's national period of mourning has come to an end as the royal family continues to grieve Prince Philip. Nine's Carrie-Anne Greenbank reports from London.
Across the UK, flags have now returned to full mast as life gets back to normal after the funeral of Prince Philip. The national period of mourning has now ended, although the royal family will remain in their official mourning until the end of the week. Here in the UK, more than 13 million people tuned in to watch the funeral. Queen Elizabeth about to spend her first birthday without her husband when she turns 95 on Wednesday.
Afghanistan's president says he hopes to come to a political agreement with the Taliban as Australia and America prepare to withdraw troops. Australia has deployed 39,000 troops over the past 2 decades as part of US and NATO-led operations. Ashraf Ghani speculates on the future of the relationship between his government and the Taliban.
What I hope they will go for and what they're likely to go for are likely to be different things. What I'd like is to seize the new context where a true national political settlement is made that integrates them within the government, within the society, within the economy.
Researchers have found healthy eating can overcome the genetic risk of heart disease. Nine's Sarah Bora has more.
A Mediterranean diet relies heavily on fruit, vegetables, legumes, seafood and whole grains. And for the first time, experts have found diet can combat a person's genetic risk of heart disease. Deakin University has studied 77,000 adults aged between 40 and 69 over 8 years, comparing their diets and heart health. It means people could be more in control of their own well-being.
Now to FIVEaa Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Flurio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Adelaide's players will recover today following yesterday's disappointing 12-point loss against Fremantle at home. No major injuries to speak of, although Taylor Walker appeared to struggle with a calf issue as the game went on. Meantime, Port Adelaide will be sweating on the results of scans to playmaker Dan Houston after he was injured with his shoulder in Saturday night's 28-point win against Carlton at the MCG. Hamish Hartlett's also in doubt for the match against St Kilda after suffering a nasty corky. Still on footy, and Geelong coach Chris Scott has confirmed star recruit Jeremy Cameron will make his debut against West Coast next round.
Ready to go. He's in. I'm also putting a bit of pressure on our medical and conditioning staff as well. It's about time.
Cameron's been working to overcome a hamstring issue. Meantime, Scott says their hopeful midfielder Patrick Dangerfield has escaped serious injury after yesterday's 5-goal win against North Melbourne. To soccer, and a spirited comeback from Adelaide United has seen them rescue a point against Sydney FC. The Reds were 2-0 down in the second half, but goals to Jordan Elsey and Tommy Urich saw them finish the match at 2-2. Meantime, in overseas action, Leicester's through to the FA Cup final following a 1-0 win against Southampton. In the English Premier League, meantime, Manchester United beat Burnley 3-1. And in some motorsport to finish, Max Verstappen has taken out a Grand Prix in Italy. Aussie Daniel Ricciardo finished 6th. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
Partly cloudy today, 21. Showers tomorrow, 19. Wednesday, partly cloudy, 19. Right now, it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Most people I know think that I'm crazy.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Monday on 5AA Breakfast. Coming up on the program this morning, one of the MasterChef judges and South Australian culinary royalty, Jock Zonfrillo, will join us on the show after 7 o'clock today. MasterChef returns tonight on Channel 10. We'll also speak with Hugh Whitfield in London. He was covering the funeral of Prince Philip over the weekend. We'll get to some more on that very shortly. We'll chat with the man behind the Chardonnay May Festival in the Adelaide Hills. It sounds like fun. You don't even need to know what it is, but it will be. Don't worry about that. And we're going to catch up with a South Australian world champion. A world champion, David Penberthy, live in the 5AA Breakfast studio in a sport you don't even know exists. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. I tell you what, I'm up for following a sport that I didn't know existed after tragically spending far too much of my time following one which I do know exists, Aussie rules, over the weekend. Nothing but heartbreak for Crow supporters on either side of the ledger. Bad luck to the girls on Saturday. Apparently they had a pretty good night, though, Saturday night. And so should they. Remarkably good season, but Brisbane were too good. But, I remember last year during the lockdown thinking there's so much more to life than sport. And I know Sue from Christie's Beach, big fan of anything other than Aussie rules. A lot of people felt that the pandemic and the fact that the football season had the mockers put on it, it forced people, friends, families, husbands and wives to do different things, to enjoy themselves, to go to a national park for a walk, or get a new hobby, or just sit around and chat to each other. In lieu of the 16 to 20 hours a week that would normally be spent in front of the TV watching every single AFL game. Had a bit of a flashback to that mindset about 20-minute mark of the fourth quarter yesterday, sitting there at the ground going, see, I've swung too far back into the football world. I should have really spent either Saturday or Sunday at Belair National Park.
Water finds its level, unfortunately for you and other sports fans around the country. There is some COVID news around today that is a better sign of the times, and maybe heartbreak in sport is a good sign of the times as well. One being that flights to New Zealand are back up and running. We'll talk about that shortly. The other being this. Tom's Court Hotel lays claim to being the very first coronavirus quarantine facility in this town. In fact, in this country. It's up for sale.
This is the one just off Halifax Street behind La Trattoria.
This is the 14-storey hotel, opened in August last year. It's a real hell of a line in the old realestate.com biography of what's up for sale to overcome, isn't it?
The ad in the paper's got one of those stars in the corner like the old K-Tel ad, as seen on TV. Except the TV show is, of course, the news.
If you are in the market
New
for a hotel,
coronavirus outbreak.
You're in the market for a hotel, 14 levels, good. In the city, nice. Good with quarantine, yeah. Australia's first COVID facility. What are the sorts of things that you see in a real you don't want to see in a real estate ad? 8223 You can text us on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. Are there red flags? Things like previous owner, loved cats, was once a COVID facility.
From recollection, the laws were changed. The laws were changed in New South Wales after a really, really, really horrible and notorious murder, where they forced real estate agents, they had to disclose if bad stuff had happened in a house. Because when I was working there, we did a story about, I'm pretty sure it was the Seth Gonzalez murder. That kid who killed his parents and his sister and made it look like a race hate crime. But it was him all along. I'm pretty sure the house was sold unwittingly to this young, very superstitious Chinese couple who, when they found out, absolutely freaked out. And after that, they changed the laws that you have to disclose histories of misadventure or scandal.
I like that. Red flags and advertisements.
Yeah.
Let us know. Anything you ever look out for and you go, well, that one's probably going to, I'll give that a wide berth.
That's right.
8223 the number, or text us on the Telstra Stormont Barker text line, 044808 1395. You can watch along, of course, too, on the 5AA YouTube and Facebook live streams right across the morning.
Walko, Blanky! Walko, Blanky! Walko, Blanky! This is a game Pool and I play. Each night I come out and put her Walko blankie on. Keeps her from evaporating. But winter is coming. Soon she'll need her Walko Guardian pool cover. Sure, the fun ends, but I know she's looked after. Chemicals sealed off from the light, water clean, and no need for your pump. Get your pool a Walko Guardian pool cover for winter. Walko.com.au.
There's no blueprints to your new custom-built Beechwood home. Well, not yet anyway. But together with Beechwood, it won't take long to turn your ideas into sketches, then drawings, and finally a home you can live a beautiful life in. That's the really exciting thing about building with Beechwood Homes. They'll build the home you want. So collect your thoughts, your ideas, your Pinterest boards, whatever, and let's talk. Because life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Toop and Toop Property Management, they saved their landlords over $2,300 last month alone through their app Toop Home.
So tell me, Will, how does an app save you money?
I'm glad you asked. Toop Home is an inbuilt system called Toop Fix. It triages property maintenance issues and helps the tenants solve the problem, meaning tradies might not need to be called out.
Well, that is not just amazing technology, it is actually perfect common sense, and it's just another reason why Toop and Toop are the people for property management here in Adelaide.
Find out what Toop and Toop's property management team can do for you. Get started by calling 8362 8888 or visiting toop.com.au.
Tonight, MasterChef serving up Adelaide's best cooks ever.
We're seeing dishes that I would be proud to have on my menu.
MasterChef starts 7:30 tonight on 10 and 10 Play on demand.
At Spotlight, get winter ready with a massive 50% off the entire range of ready-to-hang blockout curtains. During this winter, keep the warmth in and the cold out with our huge range of blockout curtains. So you can hang it, close it and keep it warm for less.
Sail on now. Exclusions apply. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
30 minutes after 6, news headlines on this Monday morning. National Cabinet is meeting this morning. The first of more regular gatherings to get the delivery of vaccinations back on track. Was it on track once? Back on track suggests it was working. The rollout will be the key focus for state and federal leaders. Mass vaccination sites and new plans for aged care and disability workers will be addressed.
They'd better get on with it, hadn't they?
Yeah.
And I think the noted troublemakers, particularly that the hapless Brad Hazard, the New South Wales Health Minister, all of the stirrers in the Labor government in Queensland as well, have been out there just taking cheap pot shots at the feds while the feds have been scratching their heads trying to work out where it comes from. This is exactly what needs to stop. The head of the AMA said yesterday, nationally the head of the AMA, in his view, the rollout is less bad than people think, but the fact that people think it's as bad as it is entirely on the politicians. And I'd agree with that.
Well, I mean, it's also on easily digestible graphs and charts that plot our position against those in other countries and other places in the world.
Mm.
You don't have to have a master's in statistics to understand where we're at compared to everyone else at the moment.
Yeah, the meeting's this afternoon apparently. According to the Premier, he'll be there.
It's day one of the Trans-Tasman travel bubble. Travellers on board flights between Australia and New Zealand don't need to quarantine on arrival. The head of Air New Zealand said this is day one of the recovery. He said that this is the beginning of this is a new beginning for that airline, one that faced extinction. 5,000 people will will use it today. And it's a huge part of the business model of Air New Zealand. So they're delighted. We'll talk more about that a little bit later as well.
Great news.
Most Australians still want to get a COVID vaccine, despite the AstraZeneca controversy. 3 in 4 respondents to a Roy Morgan poll say they plan to get the jab or have already had it. I bet there's more that plan to get it than have had it. The survey was conducted before the death of a New South Wales woman last week. I was going to save this, but I wouldn't need to do it here. I want to do it everywhere, and you're going to be so sick of me saying this. Oxford released some data late last week, an analysis of all the cases of blood clotting in people post-vaccination. Oh, and they used a couple of other reference points as well. So they looked at 500,000 people. If you got AstraZeneca after the first shot, 5 in a million people had issues with blood clotting. If you got Pfizer or Moderna, you know, the good ones, 4 in a million people. So there's a lot of hoo-ha about a minuscule difference. Now, here's the kicker. Do you know what's really bad for getting blood clots? Do you know what really gives you blood clots?
Flying?
No. Getting COVID.
Yeah, okay.
39 people in a million get blood clots from just getting COVID.
Seriously?
This is the dumbest controversy that we've ever bought into.
But why is it, though, that extremely well-educated people who work in public health have been creating the perception that it's dangerous by stopping or delaying the rollout of the AstraZeneca vaccine? Well,
I think, in part, it's political in Europe. And I think there is the public health policymakers in this country are completely given to things like if the public have a concern about how well something works, or if the public are going to start asking questions, we need to make sure that at no point there's public questions about the safety of this, right? Whether the data says it or not, that's the kicker here. So things like why isn't it been made compulsory? Well, it's not been made compulsory because we want people to buy in, right? We want the public to buy in. Why are we reacting so dramatically to these sorts of minuscule differences in data point? Well, we don't want to undermine confidence in the vaccine. And that now seems to be more important than the science. Because I tell you, the other thing about that data that I just read out holds true for people under 50 as well.
Yeah, who can't get it, or to being advised not to get it.
Exactly. It's
part of the problem with this, I think, is the way it's reported. I think not enough people are reading out stats like yours there, Will, and there's too many pieces that are leading the nightly news going, woman dies after AstraZeneca jab. Oh, okay, what? Out of how many and why, and what was the alternative?
Yeah.
So
3 people were declared dead at the scene of a shooting in Austin, Texas overnight. The Austin Police Department tweeted that while the scene was still active, the shooting was believed to be a domestic situation. There was no risk to the public. The family of Liberal Party stalwart Andrew Peacock, who died on Friday, has accepted an offer of a state memorial service in Australia. A private funeral will be held in the US this week, with a memorial service to be followed in Australia at a time to be confirmed. Mr. Peacock, aged 82, died in Texas, where he'd lived for the past 14 years.
The Colt from Kooyong, as he was known, very dashing bloke. I do wonder about his political legacy, because for most people who recall the 1980s, he is regarded as the other flank of the Howard v. Peacock years that more than anything helped keep Labor in power for so long. And Howard was vastly the better of the two as a politician, both in a policy sense and just for sheer tenacity. Got there in the end, but geez, it was just this sort of permanently sort of circular baton passing routine between Howard and Peacock in the 1980s.
We hosted a major movie premiere in Adelaide last night. The first screening of Mortal Kombat, which was shot in Adelaide and regional South Australia during 2019. It feels like a long time ago this started filming, and here we are. Finally, it's released.
A very excited Stephen Marshall's texted about that. He said Mortal Kombat was absolutely brilliant last night. He said it stars Matilda Kimber, who's the Year 8 student who was born here in SA. Premier says, quote, "A star is born." What about that?
It's exciting. This
Great
is
photo on the front of the Tizer.
We do the natural South Australian self-deprecating thing where we undersell these things. Oh well, what are they? What's this movie they've shot here in South Australia? This is a global blockbuster. This is a huge budget, big international release film. This will be massive. Speaking of massive, the Australian share market tipped to reach record highs this week. The ASX 200 is within 100 points of its record close. Experts saying it's because of the pandemic recovery overseas. The economy has bounced back remarkably in the last 12 months. The investment economy, at very least, property, the share market, the sort of big macroeconomic stuff has snapped back into place. Still, I mean, if you're a small business owner, you're probably shaking your head listening to this, but the big end of town has come back extremely strong. In the US, 2 people have been killed after a Tesla car with no one in the driver's seat crashed into a tree and burst into flames. There were questions too about...
What, an automatically driven car, self-drive car?
Yes.
What, drove into 2 people or pedestrians, or were they in the back of the car?
I think they must have been in the back of the car and crashed into a tree.
That's not very good, is it?
No.
I thought this was the way of the future.
Well, I think it's the way of the future, but they're going to iron out a few kinks first. The Sydney Morning Herald is turning 190 today. First went to the presses in 1831 when the nation's population had hit just... What do you think the nation's population was in 1831? So
1831, I reckon the nation's population was...
90 years ago.
Hang on.
190 years ago.
1831, I reckon the nation's population was... Well, South Australia didn't exist as a white colonial entity. The nation's population was 150,000.
Oh, you just double it. 70,000.
Seriously?
70,000.
Would have been easy to get a park.
So 70,000
cars didn't exist.
The Sydney Morning Herald printing to a population base. Let's say they had a national circulation, right? 70,000 would be the equivalent of what sort of size paper today?
A circulation of what?
70,000.
Oh, geez, I shudder to think these days. I'm not even... I can guess, but I'm not even prepared to answer the question publicly.
Let me phrase it this way. What kind of population base? Like what sort of... how big a town are we talking? It'd be like the southeast of South Australia, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It'd be the equivalent of something like that.
Well, I know that a paper like the Manly Daily, which was the equivalent of the Messenger paper in northern Sydney purely for the Manly area, does about that.
Yeah.
On its own. Or it did. Who knows now?
70,000 people. Wouldn't have been a really...
Horrible old tart of a newspaper, though. Can't stand the Sydney Morning Herald. Rag.
Jeez, it's an old... That old rivalry dies hard, doesn't it?
The first thing I used to do every morning, I'd wake up. I knew what was in the Telegraph because I'd just edited it. I'd pick up the Sydney Morning Herald and I reckon 2 days out of 5 I'd scream, throw the paper across the room because I'd scooped this on something. Cut both ways, but it was a good rivalry. I mean, in fact, a lot of the people who were there were really good. So, happy birthday, you horrible old rag of a newspaper.
23 minutes after 6. The weather today is going to be a top of 21. No real rain to speak of. Tomorrow it comes in a fairly serious way too. 19 the top, 4 to 8 mils of rain Tuesday. It might be a little drizzle around Wednesday, but not much. Top of 19. It comes back Thursday up to 3 mils. Friday up to 2 mils and a top of 20. 21, 22 will top us out. Sunday 22 is the warmest day of the week. It's mild. It's that time of year. 23 minutes after 6.
You might think having thousands of pals is excessive, but that's not what the team at Parafield Airport Liquor Store think, because that's how many they have. Sure, they might be made up of over 100 gins, over 200 whiskies, over 300 craft beers, and over 2,000 boutique wines. But they're some of the best pals you could have, and they're always looking for more, even if they are tricky to track down. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Our healthcare system is at breaking point, with nurses and midwives struggling to cope. Just trying to provide the level of care you deserve has left them stressed, tired and emotionally burnt out. 3 years into its term, the Marshall government has failed to keep its promise to fix the chronic healthcare issues. With the community at risk, it's time for urgent action. We all deserve healthcare we can rely on. Visit actionforhealth.com.au.
Authorised and spoken by EDABARS, Australian Nursing and Midwifery Federation, SA Branch, Ridleyton.
The Jama's name is synonymous with incredible food, and certainly in this town. We speak about food royalty.
Yeah, you are.
The Jarmus name. No
Yep.
surprise that people are loving Jarmus Kitchen, a light-filled casual eatery reimagined inside an old pub at Bowden near the underpass. Feels silly needing to describe it. Anyone who's driven past knows.
Yeah.
The home of Jarmus.
Absolutely superb. And look, as you said, Will, this is a family that's got food and hospitality running through its veins. Third-generation chef Chris Jarmer. He's made it so affordable to enjoy a great day or night out with family and friends in a warm and inviting setting.
But it's not just the Jarmer name and food that makes Jarmus Kitchen so appealing. Think about the location. Couldn't be better places you go to for a meal before or after an AFL game at Adelaide Oval, or an A-League game even at Cooper Stadium.
That's right. Or what about before or after an NBL game or a concert at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre?
You might even see the Crows players often dropping at Jarmer's.
Yeah, they do.
You see him there.
Yeah.
And look, you can chat with Chris about the footy too, if he's knocking around. In fact, he might be getting a feed there before going to the football himself.
Right.
So once you've booked your tickets, book a table at Jarmer's Kitchen and make the most of it. Jump onto jarmerskitchen.com.au, Facebook or Instagram. Jarmer's Kitchen, fancy made easy.
Harvey Norman, your premium Optus dealer. Buy one Samsung Galaxy S21 Plus 128 gig and get a second S21 Plus 128 gig when you connect both phones to new Optus $65 per month SIM-only plans for 24 months. Offer ends April 19th. Minimum cost $4,669. Not available with other offers. In-store only. Visit hn.com.au/Optus-BYO for terms and conditions.
Here at FIVEaa, we're all about supporting local. Here's who you can support around Adelaide. Invest in country quality outdoor blinds direct from the manufacturer and save. Visit countryblinds.com.au. Anyone can experience a cardiac condition and it can bring uncertainty to your life. If you need support, reach out to Heartbeat SA's reassurance officers. Visit heartbeatsouthaaustralia.org.au. FIVEaa, supporting local business.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
26 after 6, Tom's Court Hotel lays claim to being Australia's first COVID quarantine hotel, which is great. But it's also up for sale. We're talking about red flags in advertising. You see one? Let us know. 82230000. Text us on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. Con says, red flag went up when the advert said about a certain investment, we are not a bank and you could lose some or all of your capital. Yeah, no, not interested. Thank you, Con. 0448 08 1395. Just call 8223 0000. Tom Wren in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us, thanks to the FIVEaa Milk Company. 3 words make a big difference to our dairy farmers. It is FIVEaa Milk Company in your supermarket now. Morning to you, Rennie.
And morning to you, Will. Morning, David. Boys, I'll do my winners and losers. I'll start with the winners first. Even though they didn't have a win on the weekend, I'll go with the AFLW. Just the build-up, the coverage, what it meant for the sport. I actually think if you take your Crows hat off, it's a good result for the competition. Brisbane breaking through for their first win.
Yeah, totally.
They've been pushing for a few years now. And to come over here, hostile crowd, although the crowd wasn't hostile towards them, but to get that result, I thought Ange Foley showed incredible bravery the way she handled her injury. Post-match, she spoke beautifully on the dais afterwards. I just thought the whole event was a big tick.
You know what I love doing? Friday morning, I went to the Goody Saints Oval and 3 different sets of parents brought their young girls along to meet up with 18-year-old Tia Campbell, who's a Christie's Beach girl, on her debut season for the Crows. Played in the grand final on Saturday. She's probably at home feeling devastated now. But it was so nice. And to get the photo of the little kids and the teenage girl who came as well with Tia at Goodwood, just there in Curzon Avenue, front page of Australia's only national newspaper, shows that this code has actually arrived.
That's the kind of coverage. Spot on, Pembo.
The only thing that knocked that photo off the front page for the City edition was Andrew Peacock dying. It was the front page here in SA. In the eastern states, they moved it to page 3 for Peacock. But it showed that, this paper that's often obsessed with, trade and politics, they said, actually, women's footy, this is the front page story this Saturday.
Yeah, it's more than registering. So, not the result they wanted, and horrible news for poor Ange Foley, but, nonetheless, a great event on the weekend. Adelaide United, I'm going to give them a win from the weekend. I know they didn't actually win, but championship sides, they don't lose. And they were 2-0 down with 15 minutes to play against a good side, the Sky Blues, Sydney FC. They found a way to get a draw, and they almost did win the game. So a good result there. And I'm going to give Port a tick as one of the winners on the weekend. I thought to win over there, that was a really intense game. But I'm also going to give Port in the losers as well, because their injuries are becoming a major concern for me now. Not because of the number of them, but because of who they are and the length of them. Dan Houston, Xavier Dersma, Zach Butters, they're in your first 18 every time. So that's a worry. Hamish Hartlett, nasty corky, that's a worry as well. He might be okay with the 8-day break. But that was the downer for Port. They've just got to grind it out now for the next few weeks, Port, and find a way. The Crows, that was one that got away for me. They should have won that game. Will, you called it. Great call yesterday. They just let it slip. It was really disappointing. They're one of my losers too. So disappointed with Adelaide yesterday. And the other losers are the Gauntlet. We're still alive, gentlemen. Now, we started this on Friday. You had to pick your certain thing from the weekend. Our producers bombed out. Andy went with Adelaide. And Sam went with Sydney. We thought that was dodgy at the time. And I'll tell you what, while I'm on Sam, he's the newbie to the breakfast show. I love him, and he was stepping in for Lucy. Poor Lucy cops it, but a trick for young players. Now, I have my half-hour sports show before you guys come on. He wanted to go home and watch the motorsport. Now, I'm going to talk about the motorsport, mate. It's been on overnight. It's ruined his morning. He was going to go home and watch it. I'm sorry, Sammy.
What do you meant to not talk about it because Sam hasn't heard it?
Exactly.
Bugger the listeners.
So,
listen away now.
Yeah. Sammy's had a bad morning.
Oh, that's rough. But the good news is for the three of us, and I think we've got tape on this, that the losers, the first out, had to buy lunch.
Yeah.
Now, Andy's saying it's Lucy that's to buy because her game was first. I think there was collectively the first round.
Is Arana still operating?
Yeah.
We got Jocks on.
Last Jock after 7. What we'll ask Jock is, what's the most expensive place to grab a lunch in Adelaide?
What is it, $1,000 a head, Arana, wasn't it?
Oh, you're pretty
with matching wines.
With matching. Oh, no, we'll be doing matching wines.
$500, I think.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a lot of fun.
We're going there.
And with that said, one of your best ideas, Rennie, getting the Gauntlet involved, that was like taking candy from a baby.
What about you two blokes? I heard Tom's excellent call. I was driving to Strathland Saturday for my niece's 16th, so I heard the entire AFLW game on the radio, and then Will yesterday. Sensational.
Yeah, and we're teaming up on Sunday, I think, for Hawthorn Adelaide.
First time.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Going to be just champion to both
down in Tassie.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
Make a weekend of it. Go to Mona.
Barnbougle.
Pinot tasting.
Wouldn't that be nice? Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks.
How romantic.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fleurier Milk Company does. South Australian and proud of it.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy today and a top of 21 with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience, with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
State and federal leaders will be focused on speeding up the COVID vaccine rollout when they meet this morning. Mass vaccination centres, state distribution plans and the latest advice on the AstraZeneca formula will all be discussed at National Cabinet. It's the first of more regular meetings between the Commonwealth and states and territories. Professor Nick Talley from the Medical Journal of Australia says the distribution has been improving, but there's more work to do.
Moving along a little bit better, but obviously a little way to go. We want to vaccinate as many people as possible, as quickly as possible, and that's the goal. And I guess we just have to keep changing things around to meet those goals as the goalposts change.
The two-way Trans-Tasman travel bubble starts today. People can travel between Australia and New Zealand without quarantine requirements. Tourism and Transport Forum Chief Executive Officer Margie Osmond says it's an important move.
It's incredibly important from a confidence point of view for people to see something that looks a bit like normal happening. It's also going to be terrific for the 600,000 or so New Zealanders on this side of the ditch and the 75,000 Australians who live in New Zealand who really haven't had a chance to see the people they care about for a very long time.
The global death toll from the coronavirus pandemic has topped 3 million. Australian epidemiologist Dr. Margaret Harris from the World Health Organisation telling Today the number of new cases per week across the world has nearly doubled.
Vaccines are just one tool that you can use to fight this. The really critical things are the things that Australia has been doing very well. That's making sure that you really do maintain the physical distancing, that you really track every case, that you ensure that everybody who's infected is self-isolating.
Plans have been drawn up to give the North Adelaide Golf Course a multi-million-dollar facelift. It includes a new 18-hole course, driving range, mini golf and clubhouse. The course has enjoyed a recent resurgence in popularity, the pandemic resulting in more South Aussies picking up the golf clubs. The plan will be discussed at tomorrow night's Council Committee meeting. The US President's national security advisor says his government has told Russian officials there will be consequences if Alexei Navalny dies in prison. Doctors are warning the Kremlin's most outspoken critic is at risk of kidney and heart failure as his hunger strike enters a third week. Jake Sullivan says people will be held accountable if there's a death on their watch.
In terms of the specific measures that we would undertake, we are looking at a variety of different costs that we would impose. And I'm not going to telegraph that publicly at this point, but we have communicated that there will be consequences if Mr. Navalny dies.
A wildfire is burning out of control on the slopes of South Africa's Table Mountain, with parts of the University of Cape Town alight. Firefighters are using helicopters to waterbomb the area. Parks Fire Manager Philip Prinz says another fire nearby has been deliberately lit and is stretching resources thin.
When we got here, there was actually three different areas that was burning, and this was definitely started deliberately. So we had to pull resources from the other fire, and with the assistance of the city fire services, we just contained these three different areas now.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fluorio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. A frustrated Adelaide coach, Matthew Nicks, admits it feels like one got away yesterday after his side lost to Fremantle by 12 points at home. The Crows blowing a lead in the final term to slip to their second loss of the season.
One we felt slipped away, but a credit to our opposition. They were solid all day. They probably played the game on their terms in the first half, and then when it counted, they stood up at centre bounce. I think we went down 1-6 at clearance in the last 10 minutes of the game, and that was the difference. We were coming from our back 50, and we just weren't able to get it done.
Meantime, scans have confirmed stand-in skipper from the weekend, Angela Foley, has ruptured her ACL, meaning she's likely to miss next season. Marnus Labuschagne's knock of 192 has propelled Queensland to its 9th Sheffield Shield title with a big win over New South Wales. The Blues were bowled out before lunch on day 4, going down by an innings and 33 runs. Bulls captain Usman Khawaja says Labuschagne set them up for victory.
Marnus was unbelievable. I think it was the only 50 in the match, and he was 180 or whatever it was. So he's unbelievable right now. He's on fire. Single-handedly gave us the Sheffield Shield along with Michael Nessa and all the other bowlers.
And briefly elsewhere, Adelaide United has fought hard to record a 2-2 draw against Sydney FC. The Reds with 2 goals late in the second half to secure the result. And in the NBL, Melbourne United has recorded an 11-point win against Illawarra to cement top spot on the table. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
Partly cloudy for your Monday, 21. Showers tomorrow, 19. Right now it's 13. More news as it happens on 5AA.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 7. Mentioned a little bit earlier in news headlines that the border is now open between Australia and New Zealand. No quarantine required. You can fly. Air New Zealand said it would be a mammoth day today. More than 5,000 people are expected to travel. You've been able to do this for a little while in various places around Australia, but this is the first time New Zealand has opened its borders to those in Australia. So we've done it to New Zealand. It's the first time you can go there. So the first Air New Zealand service from Australia lands in Wellington at 1 p.m, so about 10:30 Adelaide time.
If any of our listeners are going,
it'd be great.
Love to hear from you. 8223 0000.
Now, a welcome is planned. And this is the exciting part, David. It includes live music and a huge banner at the end of the airport to welcome passengers. What is the music that celebrates the Australia-New Zealand relationship that should be played for the first Australians that get off the plane in Wellington?
It's probably got to be Crowded House, doesn't it?
There's a couple of ways to look at this. 8223 you can text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line.
A band comprising Australians and New Zealanders.
Well, that's ideal. But that said, we've taken ownership of every band New Zealand's ever produced.
That's right.
So I think they count too. Who should be playing? What music should be playing when the first Australians get off the plane into New Zealand? The celebration of both of our countries and our closeness.
See, all the bands I'm thinking of are just stupidly weird and unknown.
That's not like you.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to suggest the Pin Group from Dunedin. They only ever played 4 shows. They're like the Sasquatch of music. Great band.
And we'll just take us through why are they appropriate?
Well, I don't know. It'd be good to get them back together. They wrote a great song called
it's
Jim.
got nothing to do with the appropriateness. It's just you'd like to see them again.
Apparently, all the people who saw their 4 concerts said they were the best band they ever saw. They were like New Zealand's Joy Division. Anyway, probably, I think for a more mainstream audience, we'll go with Crowded House.
Crowded House. Okay. Let us know your suggestions, folks. 8223 or text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line 0448 08 1395 or watch on the 588 Facebook or YouTube live stream.
Do people still trust the authorities to do something as bold and crazy as invest in an interstate or overseas holiday, though? Because I got to admit, I was sitting down planning a holiday for our annual July break. It was going to be the whole family, so that's 6 of us. Setting aside the cost factor of the flights, because I mentioned before, we're thinking of going to Darwin. It was like, well, that's going to be almost $7,000. I was like, stuff that for a joke. But part of me, look, we're going to Kangaroo Island again, and part of my thinking is I'm buggered if I'm going to be on our brief 2-week break. You want to have the full relaxation of travelling with your family. And if someone bungs on a Mark McGowan and says, that's it, there's been a terrifying outbreak of 3 cases somewhere, so we're going to shut the borders, part of me still feels like you can eliminate the prospect of anything like that happening by just staying here in South Australia until the vaccine rollout is done and dusted. And I just thought, bugger it, I'm staying here.
Do you think it's beyond Michael Pengelly to lock down the mooring so that the...
Well, they did that last year.
Yeah.
They did it a couple of times.
I don't know that you're 100% safe on that front. There may be no opportunity for the boat. There just might not be anything for it to stop at.
Well, if you were already there... I mean, imagine that. Imagine me ringing you the Sunday before we're due to come back and saying, mate, look, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to be stuck in Island Beach for a while. Don't worry, I've gone to the seafood store in American River and I've stocked up on oysters, gar and marron, and there's plenty of false Cape and Dudley wine in the fridge, so we should be right. But in terms of the logistics of actually making it back to Homo Square, I am going to be stuck in Island Beach for the foreseeable future.
I won't be concerned for your well-being. Rob texted us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line and says the theme from Welcome Back Cotter should be playing when Australians get off the plane in New Zealand. That's what the band should be playing.
Welcome back, Cotter.
Don't mind that.
Welcome back, welcome back.
Slice of Heaven, Dave Dobbin. Not sure if it was Dave Dobbin that's texted us or that's the suggestion, the way it's written.
He sang it. Dave Dobbin sang it.
Yeah, no, I know that. I just figured he may have texted us as well because there's a full stop in the middle that suggests ownership. Now, Down Under, Men at Work. Feels like a logical sort of a choice. I come from a land down under. Quite a literal interpretation of the brief for the band. Wayne at West Beach says, Men at Work, Dragon, Crowded House, maybe get Rusty Crowe to sing. There's an idea. 30-odd foot of grunts.
T-Fog. What a band. Phil's having a friendly crack at me. He says, hey, geez, Ben, mate, which way did you go to Strathalbyn if you're up and listening to an entire football match in the car? Did you do a Cook's tour? It shouldn't have taken you more than about half an hour. Phil, what I did do, I had to go Wayville, Semaphore, Wayville, Strath. So there were a few little side tours involving child retrieval.
Another one for Slice of Heaven. That seems to be the winner. That's got multiple votes.
Ba, 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 ba. Great song.
So so long as Andy hasn't lost the number for Jacinda Ardern, what we will do is text her again, and we'll just let her know that our listeners have voted on what the band should be playing.
I love her. She's mad keen on the idea of the Pinot Challenge as well.
Well, that's, I mean, the other
We've got to
thing
get that up and running.
Have to refloat that.
Arangi versus Commune of Buttons, a head-to-head clash.
17 minutes to 7. Let's check traffic thanks to Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, second year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
There's delays at Parafield on Main North Road approaching McIntyre Road due to roadworks affecting Citybound. In Colonel Light Gardens, Springbank Road is closed to traffic at the Goodwood Road Dawes Road intersection and speeds are reduced there. In the City, War Memorial Drive is closed between King William Road and Montefiore Road due to the event at Adelaide Oval. And at Croydon Park, Regency Road is down to one lane in each direction near the South Road intersection. With half-off select flights, plan your full-on holiday at australia.com or book with your airline or travel agent before they sell out. Terms and conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
I'm Kathy Nagel, the Chief Executive of Western Hospital at Henley Beach. 2021 is going to be an exciting year at Western Hospital, with our full range of cardiovascular procedures being offered, including angiograms, pacemaker insertions, and treatments related to poor circulation, including varicose veins. Specialist care is provided by our on-site cardiologists and vascular surgeons, who are supported by our 24/7 intensive care unit. Western Hospital, your hospital that cares. Visit westernhospital.com.au.
What's on your bucket list? Parachuting? Climbing Everest? Swimming with sharks? There's one thing that should be on everyone's bucket list: a will and estate plan. A will, power of attorney, and advanced care directive speak for you when you can't. They look after you and your loved ones. A will and estate plan drawn up by Donlan Lawyers is peace of mind for everyone. For wills and estate planning, contact Donlan Lawyers or visit donlanlawyers.com. Put it on your bucket list.
Walko, Blanky! Walko, Blanky! Walko, Blanky! This is a game Pool and I play. Each night I come out and put her Walko, Blanky on. Keeps her from evaporating. But winter is coming. Soon she'll need her Walko Guardian pool cover. Sure, the fun ends, but I know she's looked after. Chemicals sealed off from the light, water clean, and no need for your pump. Get your pool a Walko Guardian pool cover for winter. Walko.com.au.
At Spotlight, get winter ready with a massive 50% off the entire range of ready-to-hang blockout curtains. During this winter, keep the warmth in and the cold out with our huge range of blockout curtains. So you can hang it, close it, and keep it warm for less. Sail on now. Exclusions apply. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
Tonight, MasterChef serving up Adelaide's best cooks ever.
We're seeing dishes that I would be proud to have on my menu.
MasterChef starts 7:30 tonight on 10 and 10 Play on demand.
For over 36 years, Steinborner has been well worth the trip. With over 400 used cars to choose from, you're sure to find the car you're looking for. Steinborner is your first choice for new Hyundai and Mitsubishi in the Barossa, and your first choice for Ford in Clare. And don't forget, you can always click through the collection of vehicles online at steinborner.com.au. Great local deals on great local cars from your locals. Steinborner Automotive. Still well worth the trip, or well worth the click.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 to 7, beautiful sunrise out the moment. If you've got the camera handy and you'd like to upload a ripper, point it towards the hills is magnificent this morning. Big thanks to Daniel for texting us on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line. He says Arana was $325 per person with matching wines and a trip to Macca's on the way home. Well, whether it filled you up or not, Daniel, that's good because that's the price point that Andy and Lucy are going to have to meet, having lost the gauntlet in round one.
Exactly.
Thanks to Tom Wren's new idea. They're out. They owe us lunch. So
13-course degustation is what we're after.
That said, if anyone knows anywhere that's more expensive, we'll take that on board as well.
Exactly.
Something so strong from Crowded House, Grant says, in terms of the what the band should be playing when the Australians get off the plane at 10:30 this morning in Wellington. There's a big welcome plan. There's a lot of Dave Dobbin love. Andrew and Cowandilla adds to that. They should play Come On Aussie, Come On. Why not? Don't mind that.
They might have bad memories for the Kiwis.
Yeah, that's right.
And coming on now is Trevor Chappell.
Hoodoo Gurus, 1,000 miles away, Phil. Andrew in South Plymouth says the opening song from the Golden Girls, Thank You for Being My Friend. Yeah, okay.
Why not?
Yeah, there's no wrong answers here.
Why not?
That Maria says, finally being able to travel, I think the song Holiday Road from National Lampoon's Holiday.
As heard when we drove to Victoria for that football game.
Oh, that's why we canned it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Never listened to that song.
I don't know why you
since
brought that up. I was really
Sorry.
having a happy moment then, and then, well, that's blown that away. All right, let's catch up with SAPOL. See Constable Kylie Simpson's on the line. Morning to you, Kylie.
Good morning.
Now, there's been a suspicious car fire at Happy Valley overnight.
That's right. Just before 10 p.m. last night, police and fire crews were called to Horn Drive after reports of a car on fire. So MFS extinguished the blaze, but the Mitsubishi station wagon that was parked in the driveway was quite extensively damaged. So crime scene investigators attended and deemed the fire to be suspicious. So we're asking anyone with any information to please contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Kylie, also a boatie got in trouble and had to be rescued by water police.
That's right. That was about 2:40 this morning, just at Semaphore. So Western Districts Police received a distress call from a man on a yacht about 200 metres out from the Semaphore Surf Club. He claimed that he'd been making his way to North Haven Marina when his boat ran aground on a sandbar and began taking in water. So patrol spoke to the man until water operation members were called in. They found him on his boat bailing out water with a saucepan. So the boat was towed back to the marina, and thankfully he was okay, the 67-year-old from Encounter Bay. But, yeah, lucky he had that saucepan on there because he was busy quickly getting the water off the boat.
The saucepan?
Yeah.
Jeez,
yeah, who would have
do you know how big the saucepan was?
No.
So I know that's a very specific question. But he was having a crack though, all the same.
Yeah, he was quite lucky. Yeah, it would have been quite scary too. It would have been dark, and
Wow.
next minute his yacht's taking in water.
My God.
You see some pretty ordinary looking devices to bail out boats at times, don't you? The amount of times you go on a dinghy or a boat and the bailout device is like a plastic bottle with a like a 5 centimetre sort of circumference opening at one end that would require hours of work to try and
piece of string tied around
Yeah,
it.
that's right. Good on you, Kylie. Thank
Thanks,
you for
Kylie.
that. Simon Timke's the senior forecaster at the Bureau. Morning to you, Simon.
Good morning, guys.
So looks like it's going to be pretty cool for the next week, Simon.
Yeah, look, and the odd shower here and there too. Looking at the radar at the moment, there's just a couple of showers moving across the Adelaide area. So we're forecasting a chance of showers morning and early afternoon. I think they mostly will have cleared away during by early afternoon, and probably not any big totals in it, but the odd spot here and there. As far as temperatures go, we're sitting on around 12 or 13 degrees about most of the suburbs. A little bit cooler about the hills, just 10 degrees at Mount Lofty at the moment. Our maximum temperature forecast for today for the city, 21 degrees. Around the suburbs, 21 as well for Noarlunga and Glenelg, 20 degrees for Mount Barker, 22 for Elizabeth. And then for Tuesday, still some showers around. We've got a front moving across that will bring some showers. And again, those showers most likely in the morning and persisting into the afternoon, and a little bit cooler tomorrow, 19 degrees, the maximum for Tuesday. We might see a few millimetres around tomorrow. We're forecasting somewhere in the range of 4 to 8 millimetres. For Wednesday, mostly cleared away, but just a slight chance of a shower in the evening ahead of the next change moving across. Another cool day, just 19 degrees. And then for Thursday, shower or two around as that next front moves across, 19 degrees again. Getting a little bit warmer late in the week and over the weekend. A shower or two around for Friday, 20 degrees. Mostly dry for Saturday, I think, but still some cloud around 21 degrees. And then mostly sunny down the way for Anzac Day, 22 degrees the maximum.
Beautiful.
Good on you, Simon. Thank you. Simon Timke, senior forecaster at the Weather Bureau. 7 to 7, we're off to the US right after this.
Want to learn to be the boss?
Change the system.
Blaze the trail.
Want to turn your passion into pay?
Ever dreamed of solving the problem?
Helping community.
Setting the trends.
The time to take this course begins today.
At Torrens University Australia, we can transform passion into careers that bring the best out of you.
Find a course that fits you perfectly and follow your heart.
Do what you love.
And love what you do.
Search Torrens University Australia.
Hi there, I'm Grishma, a Specsavers optometrist. Did you know that every Specsavers is locally owned and operated by an optometrist, just like me? We believe eye tests should reveal more, not cost more, which is why we include an OCT advanced 3D eye scan with every eye test at no extra charge. Does your optometrist? Experience the Specsavers difference and book your eye test today. We're here to look after your eye health and keep you safe in store. Visit specsavers.com.au.
At Spotlight, get winter ready with a massive 50% off the entire range of ready-to-hang blockout curtains. During this winter, keep the warmth in and the cold out with our huge range of blockout curtains. So you can hang it, close it and keep it warm for less. Sail on now. Exclusions apply. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
Harvey Norman, your premium Optus dealer. Buy one Samsung Galaxy S21 Plus 128 gig and get a second S21 Plus 128 gig when you connect both phones to new Optus $65 per month SIM-only plans for 24 months. Offer ends April 19th. Minimum cost $4,669. Not available with other offers. In-store only. Visit hn.com.au/Optus-BYO for terms and conditions.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5 to 7, Jogs on Frillo on the program after 7 o'clock. It is MasterChef Day. It's back tonight, 7:30 on Channel 10. Also across to the UK for the fallout on Prince Philip's funeral over the weekend. And we'll discuss it in a little bit more in depth, the iconic image, what will be, I think, the iconic image of this whole COVID period. That's coming up. But first, let's head to the US. David Woyward for 7 News is on the line. And David, some info on a couple of mass shootings in the US.
They're just happening with such incredible frequency at the moment, aren't they? In Austin this morning, 3 people were killed at the scene of the shooting, and police have just updated the situation. They say it appears to be a domestic situation and it is isolated. They've identified the suspect. He was a sheriff's detective, and the worrying thing is he's still at large at the moment. Massive manhunt still underway. It's unknown if he fled on foot or in a vehicle, and authorities are concerned that he could be hiding or even take a hostage. So it's the latest really in a bit of a deadly weekend here in America. Of course, we had another shooting a few days ago. 8 killed at a FedEx facility in Indianapolis. A disgruntled former worker there. It's now been revealed the 19-year-old bought 2 assault rifles used in the attack legally, which I believe that months after being investigated by the FBI due to his potential for violence. And incredibly, no red flags were raised. So yeah, look, pretty shocking state of affairs here, guys. These shootings, they are happening every day. I put out a tweet a couple of days ago saying it was the 106th day of the year, and there's already been 147 mass shootings. 48 hours on, that is horrifically already out of date.
What's the public discussion around it, though, David? Is it still a sort of mainstream view that all of these cases should not be seen as an impetus for the type of laws that we brought in here in Australia after the Port Arthur massacre?
There is a lot of that, and last week, or it might be the week before, Joe Biden announced his fairly modest proposed gun reforms. There were things like, he wants stronger background checks, but things like not being able to 3D print these ghost guns and these self-assembly things. And there's even fight back against that. I went down to a gun shop here in Beverly Hills last week, and the bloke there who runs the shop, I was trying to explain to him Australia's gun laws, and he was just gobsmacked. And he's going, well, it's the price you have to pay for freedom here, and they're quite willing, so many people, to pay that price. And these are mass murders on their streets every other day, and it's happening with more and more frequency in the past few months as those COVID restrictions start to lift right across America as well. We've really seen these gunmen, in most cases, come out and taking plenty of lives at the moment.
It's the freedom equation, and most Australians will never understand why your freedom to buy a gun is greater than your freedom from being shot by a gun. They're both freedoms. David, thank you. David Woyward for 7 News in the United States. It's 2 to 7.
Speaking of iconic images, what about this photograph? And I'll tell you what, whoever's taken it, they're hiding their light under a bushel. We'd love to know your name.
Well, hang on a second.
This staggering photograph.
There's no way this photo could be... This is just taken by an amateur.
You think it's a professional photograph someone's passed off as their own work?
I can't believe that this photograph is just the work of a listener this morning. It is one of the great photographs of a sunrise I've seen.
And whoever this listener is, maybe they're like a magnum photographer. Maybe they work for National Geographic, because the colours, not only of the sunlight as it emerges playing on the water, but what about the clouds? It's astonishing.
I actually originally thought, hang on, it's the sunrise happening over the water, but of course Titty Beach is Ardrossan, so it's looking back towards Adelaide. It's looking back over the ocean, because originally my antenna was up, David, because I thought, hang on, sunrise in this town happened over the hills. But that said, Titty Beach, entirely different equation. We're going to try and we've got Andy on the line. Andy has purportedly taken the photograph. Andy, are you a professional photographer?
Mate, I'm a regular old hack.
Seriously?
That is such a good photograph, mate.
What did you take it on?
An old iPhone, believe it or not.
You're kidding?
An old iPhone?
So how long ago did you take the photo?
Probably 15 minutes ago. I hit the beach and the sun was coming up, so thought it was worth a shot and come up all right.
Is it the best photo you've ever taken?
Yeah, probably.
I reckon
now it is.
If it's not, we want to.
Radio, so.
If it's not, we want to see the other ones. Hey, yeah, Andy, mate, congrats. We're going to put this up everywhere if that's all right with you.
Yeah, go for it.
We'll credit you, Andy, and Titty Beach, superstar photographer. It is a spectacular shot of a sunrise. We love getting sent great pictures. We get some crackers. This is right up there, though. 82230000 is our number. You can text us on the Telstra Tormount Barker text line. 5AA News Time, and one of Australia's best chefs, Jock on Frillo, right after this.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy today and a top of 21 with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience, with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
Water Operations Police have rescued a boatie in distress at Semaphore. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson says they received a call in the early hours.
Western Districts Police received a distress call from a man on a yacht about 200 metres out from the Semaphore Surf Club. He claimed that he'd been making his way to North Haven Marina when his boat ran aground on a sandbar and began taking in water.
The boat was towed back to the North Haven Marina where it's been secured. The skipper, a 67-year-old Encounter Bay man, was not injured. A car has been torched at Happy Valley. The alarm was raised on Horn Drive just before 10 last night. The Mitsubishi station wagon was parked in a driveway and extensively damaged. Investigations are continuing. National Cabinet is meeting this morning, the first of more regular gatherings to get the delivery of vaccinations back on track. The rollout will be the key focus for state and federal leaders. Mass vaccination sites and new plans for aged care and disability workers will be addressed. It's day one of the two-way Trans-Tasman travel bubble. Travellers on board flights between Australia and New Zealand don't need to quarantine on arrival. Margie Osman from the Tourism and Transport Forum says it's an important symbolic step.
I think we have to be realistic about how much it will contribute to the economy, but I think the larger confidence issues around it are the important things. We need to be back up in the air. We need to have proof of concept that we can work across borders like this.
In the US, 2 people have been killed after a Tesla car with no one in the driver's seat crashed into a tree and burst into flames. Nine's Amelia Adams reports.
The fully electric 2019 Tesla Model X crashed into a tree in Houston, Texas overnight, killing 2 passengers. Police say the $100,000 vehicle was on autopilot with no one driving when it failed to navigate a cul-de-sac and ran off the road, sparking a fire so intense authorities had to call Tesla to ask how to put out a blaze in the battery. The crash again raising questions about the car maker's autopilot technology, which uses sensors and cameras to drive and avoid obstacles. America's traffic safety regulator is currently investigating 23 crashes involving Tesla cars on autopilot.
A train has derailed in Egypt. Local media are reporting a number of deaths. At least 8 carriages came off the rails near Cairo. It's the latest in a series of rail disasters in the country. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Flurio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide has blown a golden opportunity to stay in touch with the top 4 after going down by 12 points at home against Fremantle. The Crows led at half-time and were in front again midway through the final term, but lost momentum as the Dockers stormed home to claim their 3rd win of the season. Still on football, and Hawthorn coach Alistair Clarkson says the team only lost momentum in the last quarter against Melbourne, going on to lose the match by 50 points.
You know, we're right in the game, and then to fall away like we did, was disappointing because it wasn't a true indication of the contest across the course of the game.
And there was one game to wrap up round 5 yesterday, with Geelong outlasting North Melbourne to win by 5 goals. To motorsport, Aussie Daniel Ricciardo is trying to remain patient as he adjusts to his new car with McLaren. He finished 6th at a wet Italian Grand Prix, taken out by Max Verstappen ahead of Lewis Hamilton. To soccer, and Adelaide United sitting in 3rd place on the A-League table with 5 games to play, following yesterday's hard-fought 2-2 draw against Sydney FC. The Reds' next take on Wellington on Sunday. Meantime, in overseas action, Leicester's through to the FA Cup final following a hard-fought 1-0 win over Southampton. And American Stuart Sink is on the verge of taking out the RBC Heritage Tournament in South Carolina. He's currently 3 shots clear with only a couple of holes to play. Cam Smith, the best of the Aussies, 7 shots back. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, 2nd year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Getting busy at Salisbury East Main North Road, approaching the Kings Road intersection. There are some works there. Mount Osman, the freeway up track left-hand lane closed. Speed restrictions both ways. And delays at Oaklands Park, the Morford Road near Diagonal Road for some contraflow. And Regency Park, the North-South motorway for the R2P project this morning. Get $15 off online orders at Coles when you spend $200 or more. Hurry in Sunday. Head to coles.com.au and use promo code BOOKS. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
Partly cloudy today, 21. Showers tomorrow, 19. Right now it's 13. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In the last hour on Adelaide's 5AA.
Tom's Court Hotel lays claim to being the very first coronavirus quarantine facility in this town. In fact, in this country. It's up for sale. It's a real hell of a line in the old realestate.com biography of what's up for sale to overcome, isn't it?
The ad in the paper's got one of those stars in the corner like the old K-Tel ad, as seen on TV.
Even though they didn't have a win on the weekend, I'll go with the AFLW. Just the build-up, the coverage, what it meant for the sport. I actually think if you take your Crows hat off, it's a good result.
Front page of Australia's only national newspaper shows that this code has actually arrived.
First, let's head to the US. David Woyward for 7 News is on the line, and some info on a couple of mass shootings.
They're just happening with such incredible frequency at the moment, aren't they? In Austin this morning, 3 people were killed at the scene of the shooting, and police just updated the situation. They say it appears to be a domestic situation and it is isolated. They've identified the suspect. He was a sheriff's detective, and the worrying thing is he's still at large.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 after 7, I was the doubting Thomas when it came to what was one of the best photos we've ever received of a sunrise. Came from Titty Beach. Andy, we spoke with him just before the break, and we've subsequent to that got some terrific photos from people with early morning rainbows this morning. Someone says on the text line, as you were describing the sunrise, I was walking towards the city. Most awesome full rainbow. What a way to start the day. Then instantly we got another. Con says, what about this rainbow taken now by my daughter from the top of Greenhill Road? We'll tweet those ones out as well. Mark's got some concerns about what's going on at the Bureau this morning. Says a sprinkler a spot before a partly cloudy day. Well, it's been raining consistently down here at Largs Bay, so let's hope the Weather Bureau's computer gets rebooted soon, so it's up to date.
Well, the Bureau's not in Largs Bay.
Yeah, but they do say Adelaide, don't they?
Well, yeah, but sometimes, the city's doing one thing, Nollunga or Salisbury are doing something completely different.
Because otherwise, I mean, it's not... The weather on West Terrace is of little relevance to anyone.
True. Well, the weather's got to stop and start somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. You're right. You're right. But I know. I think
the rain,
Largs Bay isn't William Creek either. 8 minutes after 7. Jocks on Frillo coming up in a moment. MasterChef starts tonight. But first, we're off to the UK with Hugh Whitfield, who for 7 News over the weekend was covering the funeral of Prince Philip. Hugh, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will, David.
What does it mean, Hugh, covering it in a scenario whereby there are only 30 people at the funeral?
Yeah, look, I think when I first saw those pictures from inside Windsor Castle in the lead up to the funeral itself, I was kind of taken aback at the scale of it. I think we knew that it was going to be a scaled back funeral, and it was scaled back, but there was still a huge amount of pomp and ceremony that went with farewelling the Duke of Edinburgh, and everything about it was so much him, with the Land Rover that the coffin was loaded onto. That was his hearse that he designed, passing by the fell ponies, with the carriage that was his favourite carriage, his hat and his gloves there. They'll never be worn again. The ponies will never be driven by him again. And then that minute's silence outside St George's Chapel, where this entire country stood still. We had one of my colleagues, Sarah Greenhalgh, outside Buckingham Palace. She was telling me today about how surprised she was, how still and silent even those few tourists that there are in London were outside Buckingham Palace. And then inside St George's Chapel, that very stark image of the Queen sitting by herself. The fact that the COVID regulations here in Britain mean that the 94-year-old monarch cannot have someone by her side to farewell her husband of 73 years. I think, if anything, that must drive home to Australians the outrage of what COVID has been here in the UK.
Hugh, one of the big talking points around the funeral was the fact that after so many months away in the United States, it was more than a year, I think, since Prince Harry had actually seen any of his family face to face. The meeting that he had with all of them, particularly his brother, William, who is said to be the most appalled by Harry's actions, and particularly the Oprah interview, yet it looked like there was something of a warming there.
Yeah, only at the end, though. You could see when they were in that procession behind the coffin in the lead up to the funeral, there was a frostiness, and it was William we're now hearing. It's being reported here. It was Prince William who wanted Peter Phillips as that buffer between himself and his brother. When you look at it lined up, they are Prince Philip's three eldest grandsons. But there's a number of ways you can justify the way that they were walking in terms of the layout of the procession, but it was a little bit weird to see them divided by Peter Phillips, and he was kind of standing back as well. He knew that there was going to be that shot of the two brothers, and he stood back just a touch throughout that procession. It was following the funeral that when they walked outside, the Queen got in her state Bentley. She went back up to the state apartments. There were cars there waiting for the other 30 mourners. They actually sent the cars away and they walked up. They chose to walk up the hill, the royal family. William was outside. Kate was with him, and you can kind of see that she encourages him just to hold back because she knew Harry was coming. And then they walked as the three of them together up, and they were in conversation. The first time, potentially, that they've had this face-to-face chat in 13 months. And then Kate dropped back a little bit and let the two brothers walk ahead. We don't know what was said, obviously, but I've got brothers, and when you have I've had an argument for 13 months, but when you have it can take a little bit to open up that conversation again, can't it? When you have a bit of a fight. So the thing about it though is that Harry has really frustrated, annoyed, and offended the family by what he did. And you could see when he was inside the chapel and when they're walking out, the Queen walked out first. Harry got up. He's obviously by himself because he has to be. And he was a bit of a loss as what to do. He's kind of tapping the order of service against his leg. I thought he looked too relaxed in the procession. He was kind of wandering along while the rest of them were, kind of semi-marching. I thought he looked like he was very uncomfortable being there. And we can only hope that whatever wake there was, a gathering of some sort, maybe over a beer or something stronger, that they've patched things up just a touch.
Hugh, thank you for that. Hugh Whitfield for 7 News in London. I think COVID has been a fairly difficult sort of an event over the course of the last 18 months to capture in an image, in a photograph. But I think 100 years from now, people will recognise the Queen sitting alone at her husband's funeral and go, oh, that was COVID. I think it was
I watched the last half of the funeral Saturday night, and I found it oddly compelling. It was the way it was filmed. It was like watching some sort of work of art, like a play. It was
all choreographed entirely, isn't it?
Yeah, but the cathedral itself that they were in was just stunning. The music was superb, but it was just weird. It was like watching some sort of like old surreal movie, I thought. Clever.
8223 or text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line 0448 08 1395. Let us know what's a still image? You see it and you instantly recognise the event or the moment. Those things that stay with us. Can be serious, can be silly, can be uplifting, can be a bit sad. And it certainly was sad to see the Queen isolated, sitting with her head bowed by herself on a pew. That was a really sad scene.
Yeah. It was a great... Death is the great leveller, isn't it? Absolutely. It doesn't matter who you are, it gets you in the end.
So is COVID, it turns out.
Yeah, well,
you can't be comforted by anyone at a funeral.
It made the Queen look so... It was like looking at your grandma. She was just this poor old lady just sitting there in a state of total grief. Terribly sad.
Become an iconic image. Let us know others. Still images that you instantly recognise the moment, the place, the time. 8223 0000 or text us on 0448 08 1395. That is the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line number. Let's check traffic now, thanks to Dave Potter. Enjoy huge savings and factory bonuses on the 2021 CRV at Australia's #1. That's Dave Potter Honda.
At Crowfest, the freeway up track, there's a breakdown near the tunnel. Speeds are down to 60 k's. Getting busy Salisbury East, that's as you head into town. Main North Road approaching Kings Road intersection. And also getting busy around Dawes Park St Mary's, the Goodwood Road Dawes Road intersection upgrade there, laying new bitumen, speed restrictions and detours in place there. A couple of speed cameras too, Deakin Avenue, Richmond and Main North Road, Blair Athol. Making funeral arrangements can be difficult. When you need to, talk to Alfred James, your family-owned South Australian funeral directors. Alfred James, the final farewell matters. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
A coalition of doctors say that this state has a mental health crisis. But of course, SA Health is in denial of this fact. There's a critical shortage of fully trained staff. It's made worse when we know that mental health patients are occupying hospital beds intended for other patients.
9 till 12 weekdays.
John Mendoza. John, good morning.
The administrative capacity to make these simple decisions and move on has been totally lacking.
On 5AA.
Tonight, MasterChef serving up Adelaide's best cooks ever.
We're seeing dishes that I would be proud to have on my menu.
MasterChef starts 7:30 tonight on 10 and 10 Play on demand.
At Spotlight, get winter ready with a massive 50% off the entire range of ready-to-hang blockout curtains. During this winter, keep the warmth in and the cold out with our huge range of blockout curtains. So you can hang it, close it and keep it warm for less. Sail on now. Exclusions apply. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
For over 36 years, Steinborner certified cars has always exceeded expectations on value, service and selection, and that continues. That's why it's always well worth a trip to Steinborner certified cars in Gawler, Nuriutpa and Clare for great deals on new and demo Hyundai, Ford and Mitsubishis, plus SA's biggest and best range of used cars. Make the trip to one of Steinborner's 8 dealerships or view the whole range of cars now at steinborner.com.au and join the thousands who know. Steinborner certified cars. It's well worth the trip.
If you're planning an event, whether it's a small meeting with the latest in reliable technology or a large gala dinner full of glitz and glamour, you'll experience event excellence on every level at the Adelaide Convention Centre. Excellence in understanding your needs and delivering them to exacting standards is what we do. And we don't just aim for excellence, we go beyond. So for your next excellent event, the team is ready and waiting at the Adelaide Convention Centre, the centre of event excellence.
Know what's kick-ass? Getting out there and exploring the great outdoors. And the right gear can make it really kick-ass. For quality four-wheel drive and camping gear, use kick-ass products. Available only at australiandirect.com.au.
If you could punch cancer in the face, would you? What about heart disease, kidney disease, stroke or diabetes? Would you fight them too? Well, we are, and we need your help. When you support the Hospital Research Foundation, you join the fight to find cures and improve care in more than 50 areas of medical research. And you make an impact. The Hospital Research Foundation Group. Together, fight.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
18 minutes after 7. Now, unfortunately, there's been a mix-up with Channel 10, David, and Jocks on Frillo is busy, but in an extremely happy development.
Hopefully he's busy trying to work out how to reopen Arana.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Good news for us, though, because one of his other judges extraordinaire, Melissa Leong, has joined us on 5AA Breakfast ahead of the launch of MasterChef for 2021, 7:30 tonight on Channel 10. Melissa, good morning to you.
Hello, how are you? I'm sorry I don't have a hot Scottish accent.
Hey,
but
you got nothing to
we'll
apologise
try.
for, Melissa, because frankly, don't tell Jock I said this, but I would much rather be talking to you than talking to Jock, because I'm fascinated by your path into Master Chefing and how you became a judge, because you were part of the whole new generation of food writers online largely. How did you end up getting into it? Just through a passion for food and writing about food?
Yeah, I think that's really how it started. I mean, I was working in advertising at the time, and digital media was all relatively new. I mean, nobody had a Facebook account. I think it was all MySpace and stuff like that back then. And I chose food as sort of a subject matter to get to know the community. Just because I thought, well, my parents are Singaporean, I eat a lot of food, I think I know a thing or two. Gosh, I really didn't at all. But, that's sort of how it started. And then Time Out Sydney launched, and then I sort of put my hand up and said, could I write for you? And they were very kind to sort of start me on my path of professional writing from there. And haven't looked back since.
Melissa, is there a danger that there's people on the MasterChef are becoming too good? I remember back to season 1, and, there'd be home cooks that had put together a decent roast turkey, and it was great.
Well, Julie won with lamb chops.
That's right. I've seen the ads for this season, and it looks like they. I mean, we joked about Arana earlier with Jocks on Frillo here in Adelaide. The dishes are unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. There are definitely dishes that we've encountered this season, and we're not even done yet. We're in the Northern Territory at the moment, filming the last, the very, very pointy end of this season. But there are dishes that are 3 Michelin star worthy, and without word of a lie, it's not something that we would never make up that kind of craziness. But we find ourselves in the position of being rather shocked on a regular basis of how talented this year's contestants are naturally. And then you see their progression throughout the season as they become inspired by the chefs that we bring in or the challenges that we set. And then they take all of those tools and they develop techniques and perspectives on food that just really blow you away.
Melissa, over the last 3 months here in Adelaide, we've seen with what's normally called Mad March, people had their wings clipped a bit due to COVID.
Yeah.
There weren't as many international performers here, hardly any, in fact, for things like WOMAD and the festival. Is that something that's going to affect the ability of MasterChef to attract any big names from overseas, or have you managed to sneak a few in?
Well, here's the thing. Obviously, we care very deeply about doing the right thing when it comes to COVID, and we, through the magic of television and technology, we've been able to beam in the same caliber of incredible superstar chefs like Nigella and Heston and Yossa Motolengi, for example, and. Yes, of course, it would be lovelier to have them in the studio because it's always wonderful to have people in the studio in real life. But the impact that just their presence interacting with the contestants via satellite has done is, you see the results on the plate. It's no less impactful having them they're in a different form for once. Yeah.
Do you ever have a big breakfast before the show and think, I'm just too full to judge today?
I'm very careful what I eat before I start the day. I need if we know that there's a big challenge coming and that we're going to be tasting 18 dishes, by 4 o'clock, I usually just sort of try not to go down the huge breakfast route. Toasties are massive in our green room in the morning, so we always crank crank the jaffles and whatever cheeses and cured meats on hand and hot sauces and things. It smells amazing in there every single morning.
Look,
so the boys load up on jaffles. I may or may not partake depending on the day.
Well, against all sorts of adversity, you guys put together one hell of a season last year. It was compelling viewing, and can't wait for it to start tonight and watch all the magic unfold. Melissa, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Melissa Leong from MasterChef. This year's MasterChef, serving up the best cooks, best food ever. It starts tonight, 7:30 on 10 and 10 Play on demand. And
I want a jaffle now.
Yeah, what's more, David? Well, you might think about food because we've got some exciting news for our listeners.
This is gonna
Big
be
thanks to the good people at MasterChef and Channel 10. We've got $2,000 to give away. Now, what you have to do to win the $2,000 is guess Pembo's secret recipe. He is going to reveal a couple of ingredients each day over the course of this week. And on Friday, if you're the first person to guess what the whole recipe is, you win $2,000. It's as simple as that.
So obviously, the more clues, the closer you're going to get. It's going to start pretty vague. No one's going to get it today.
All right. So
there's 10 ingredients that are going to be revealed, which of itself is a bit of a clue.
Okay.
Because it's a bit of an ensemble dish. That's all I'll say about it. Salt, clue one.
Salt. Now you're
at my house. It means everything.
I was going to say, as our resident chef on the program, how many dishes are ruled out by you saying salt?
Zero. Anthony Bourdain once said that. The people said, "What's the difference between restaurant food and home cooking?" He said, "Key difference: salt and butter."
Yes,
that's why everything tastes so good in restaurants. Got heaps of salt in it, heaps of butter.
Salt is the first ingredient. On Friday morning, if you can guess the recipe correctly, you'll win $2,000 if you're the first person through. There's another ingredient coming up in the next hour, all thanks to MasterChef. Remember, starts 7:30 tonight on Channel 10. 25 after 7. We'll talk sport in just a moment.
Have you got toenail issues? Is your big toenail discoloured and unsightly? Toenail fungus is a common issue for lots of people. We're inviting people to participate in a clinical trial to test a new topical treatment for fungal toenail infections. Participants need to be 18 to 70 years old with signs of toenail fungus. All eligible participants will be paid for their time. Register your interest today at toenailstudy.com.au. That's toenailstudy.com.au.
At Budget Car and Truck Rentals, the answer is always yes. Yes to car and truck rentals. Yes to minibus rentals you can drive on a car licence. Yes to four-wheel drives and utes. Yes to tippers. Yes to mobile cool rooms and refrigerated trucks and vans. Yes to open and enclosed trailers. Yes to 5 and 8 tonne Pantex. At Budget Car and Truck Rentals, the answer is always yes. Call 13 27 27.
Here we go. Walco.
Blanky.
Walco.
Blanky.
Walco Blanky. It's a game we hear in the evenings right across Adelaide. Proud pool owners putting their pool to sleep.
Yeah, it was good, but we just kept repeating it then. It's becoming a part of the Aussie way of life. Long evenings, the magpies warbling, and putting your Walco blanket over your pool.
That's right. Winter is coming. In fact, looking outside, it feels like it's here. No more long shadows. It is time, folks, for the Walco Guardian pool cover.
It will seal off your chemicals from the light, keep your water clean, and you won't need your pump at all, so you save bucks.
That's right. The fun ends, and you know your pool is looked after during winter with a Walco Guardian pool cover. So get your pool a Walco Guardian for winter now. Your pool will thank you for it. Just go to their website, walco.com.au.
Major road resurfacing works on the Southeastern Freeway between the toll gate and Hyson tunnels will be underway until mid-2021. Motorists should expect delays, so allow extra travel time. Visit dit.sa.gov.au/SE Freeway. A message from the Government of South Australia.
That sounds like a really good sleeper. But the best sleepers you can get are Outback Sleepers. Outback Sleepers are the strongest concrete sleepers you can buy with a 35-year product warranty. They're perfect for slotting a staircase, building a retaining wall or fence. Basically, if you're doing any landscaping, the only sleeper you need is an Outback Sleeper. Ask your local landscaping stockist and fencing supplier or find them online at outbacksleepers.com.au.
Dr. Greg Keane explains how SportsMed puts patients first every day.
SportsMed is different. We have a clinic and hospital with specialists, doctors, physios and podiatrists all together in one location. There's also pathology, radiology, pharmacy and a cafe. This makes life easier for our patients because their appointments can all happen right here. It also lets us diagnose issues quickly, leading to high quality, cost-effective care.
And their patients love it. SportsMed.
Start living life again with our expert help.
Sportsmed.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
There was something in the air that night.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
28 after 7, talking about the Queen at Prince Philip's funeral is an iconic still image like others in history. Getting some other nominations on the Telstra Stormount Park text line. The Solo student at Tiananmen Square says one text. Scott says any still image of Uluru instantly recognisable. Someone else has said Trevor Chappell's 10-pin bowling impression on a cricket pitch. And a lot of nominations. David, Paul Elizabeth Park and others for the Napalm Girl in Vietnam.
That is staggering, that photograph.
It is. Certainly is.
I bought her book at the airport in Ho Chi Minh City when Kate and I went there years ago for a holiday. It's called The Girl in the Photo. And it's the most amazing book. She lives in the States now. And she became like, one of the texters correctly says this, she became like a motivational speaker.
All right, let's talk sport. Thanks to the wonderful people at North Point Toyota. Used vehicle stock always changing. Prospect, Hillcrest and Port Augusta, it is the North Point way. A few listeners raised an eyebrow at something Stephen Rowe said post-game as he was talking up the prospects of young Crow Tarek Newchurch, who kicked 3 in a Sandford side that lost by 13 goals on the weekend. Said he needs to come in at the expense of, well, seemingly just about anyone.
I would play him in front of Murphy, McHenry and Rowe because I think he's a different player to all three of them. But what he has, those three don't have. This lad is going to be an absolute gun. And at this level, he'd be an absolute gun. And I'd put him in front of all three of them.
That might be awkward at home, have that conversation.
Well, I've got to do a job. And James knows I'm very honest. And James knows the kid can play. And this is one thing I know about my son. He just wants to win. Yeah. And if he can make him win, he wants him in the team.
He's kicked 2 in a losing side and you drop him. That's unbelievable.
No, don't put words in my mouth. I said
You'd play him in front of all three.
Play Tarek Newchurch for 10 games this year because I think he is the next absolute gun forward because he has all the weapons.
Big raps on him, Tarek Newchurch. But I tell you what, 5 games into his career and the first drop Jimmy Wright calls come from Stephen.
That was ridiculous. Rowie Senior, not Rowie Junior.
He did make the point. It was less about saying any of those 3 guys should be dropped on form than it was. He was talking up what the talents of Newchurch are. But it's made a funny moment. A few people pointed out. A few other people have texted in as well. You might be able to help us out with this morning. At the Adelaide Oval yesterday. Now, when I was commentating, you walked from the car park up to the commentary box, so I don't get to see this. But we got a couple of texts from people saying half the kiosks and food outlets were closed yesterday. And those that were there...
Because of COVID?
Well, I don't know. They hadn't been closed at previous games, according to the text. And there was some food shortages and things like that. Did anyone see that? Is that the case? Can you confirm that? We just got a lot of messages that suggested that and didn't get an opportunity in the call to flesh that one out. You may have seen it. 044808 1395. On the Telstra Stormount Barker text line, or give us a call, 8223 0000. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy today and a top of 21 with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
There was an SOS off the coast of Semaphore in the early hours of this morning. A distress call was received from a man on a yacht approximately 200 metres out. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson says he'd run aground on a sandbar and was taking on water.
The boat was towed back to the marina and thankfully he was okay, the 67-year-old from Encounter Bay. But yeah, lucky he had that saucepan on there because he was busy quickly getting the water off the boat.
A car fire south of the city is under investigation. A Mitsubishi station wagon went up in flames while parked in a Happy Valley driveway late last night. The Horn Drive fire is being treated as arson. There have been cuts to more than 300 local hospital jobs and the state opposition wants to know why. Freedom of Information documents have revealed the cuts, which includes 120 nurses. Shadow Health Minister Chris Picton says it's cost taxpayers more than $24 million and the government needs to provide some answers.
These are the nurses who care for patients day in, day out. And it's completely absurd for the government to make these positions redundant and leave us without those hard-working staff who could be caring for patients right now.
National Cabinet will come together today. Mass COVID vaccination centres, state distribution plans and the latest advice on the AstraZeneca formula will be discussed. State and federal leaders have agreed to meet fortnightly to get the vaccine rollout back on track. The first flights are in the air as the Australia-New Zealand travel bubble officially begins. Nine's Christina Hearn is in Sydney.
Air New Zealand have 30 flights on today. Their first one, a flight from Sydney to Wellington this morning, is fully booked, with all passengers receiving a glass of champagne on arrival. Since late last year, almost all states in Australia have allowed those travelling from New Zealand to come here without quarantining. But this is the first time it works both ways.
China and the United States have made a commitment to push for stronger international action on climate change. US climate envoy John Kerry has been meeting with his Chinese counterpart. Both countries have agreed to take further specific actions to reduce emissions. Prince William reportedly asked his cousin Peter Phillips to stand between him and Harry during the funeral procession for Prince Philip on the weekend. The brothers, whose relationship has been under the microscope since the Meghan and Harry tell-all with Oprah, was on public display for the first time on Saturday. Seven's Hugh Whitfield has told 5AA Breakfast Harry would have been feeling the pressure coming together with his family.
Harry has really frustrated, annoyed and offended the family by what he did. And you could see when he was inside the chapel and when they're walking out, the Queen walked out first. Harry got up, he's obviously by himself because he has to be, and he was a bit of a loss as what to do. He's kind of tapping the order of service against his leg. It looked like he was very uncomfortable being there.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fleurieu Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Well, a failure to execute and missing the fundamentals is the major reason Adelaide lost against Fremantle yesterday. That's the opinion of coach Matthew Nicks, who admits it was disappointing to go down by 12 points against the Dockers.
You know, being able to put scoreboard pressure off and finish off opportunities and execute, well, they did that better than us today. They executed when they had their chances and we didn't.
Two other games to wrap up round 5 yesterday, with Melbourne maintaining its unbeaten run with a 50-point thumping of Hawthorn, while Geelong was too strong for North Melbourne, winning by 30 points. Meantime, Port Adelaide will be keeping a close eye on the results of scans to Dan Houston after he hurt his shoulder in Saturday night's win against Carlton. Let's go to soccer, and Adelaide United's kept its top two hopes alive after a hard-fought 2-2 draw against Sydney FC. Meantime, Manchester United has kept its faint EPL title hopes alive after beating Burnley 3-1 overnight. Let's go to golf, and American veteran Stuart Sink has turned back the clock, just taking out the RBC Heritage Tournament by a very comfortable 4 shots. With his son Reagan caddying for him, the 47-year-old wrapped things up with a par on the last.
There you go.
Yeah, love it. Good stuff, Dad. Great. Oh, that was amazing. Good playing.
Yeah, good stuff. Audio thanks to Fox there. Cameron Smith was the best of the Aussies, 8 shots back. And Australian Daniel Ricciardo has finished 6th at a Formula 1 race in Italy overnight. Max Verstappen taking the checkered flag. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, 2nd year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Getting busy, Salisbury East ahead into town, Main North Road approaching Kings Road intersection there. Crayford, the freeway uptrack, there's a breakdown near the tunnel, speeds in out of 60 k's. And today look out for roadworks, Door Park, Dawes Road, Goodwood Road, upgrade there. They are laying new bitumen, speed restrictions and detours in place there as well. A couple of speed cameras to look out for, Main North Road, Blair Athol, Great Terrace, Rosewater. Treat your taste buds to Red Roosters $4.95 sub lunch, chicken, chips, mash, gravy, onion rings. You can't top it. The Roosters calling, get it while you can, where you can, available till 4 p.m. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
21 today and partly cloudy, showers tomorrow 19 and the same again on Wednesday. Right now it's 12. More news as it happens on 5AA.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 minutes to 8. Talking about Prince Philip's funeral over the weekend. The iconic image of the Queen, their head bowed, sitting alone in a pew. Getting interesting nominations for iconic images in history. Joe says, what about the assassination of JFK in the motorcade in Texas? Instantly recognisable. You can pick that one out anywhere. Gordon on the service says it was very moving. Epitomised everything about the British culture. Although it was a sad occasion, it was a memorable experience, a vision of a family truly in mourning. Getting a lot of other nominations for iconic photographs and still images in time. John in Inglefarm's got one for us. Morning to you, John.
Gentlemen, good morning. I've selected Michael Jordan in the 98 finals. Probably more appropriate for the sports show, but anyhow, if you watch the sequence leading up to the shot, it's probably the best 6 minutes of NBA basketball you'll see, and the shot puts him in front to cap off the second three-peat. And the one I'm talking about is from behind, and you can see the crowd in the background.
He crosses over Byron Russell and he leaves his hand just hanging after he shoots the jumper.
Because he knew it was going to be the last photo, they reckon, as well.
Yeah,
So-
it was an incredible sense of the moment. That's a great nomination, John. I tell you what.
A lot of good sports photos stay with you.
Well, there's a lot of...
What about the one of Ali standing over Sonny Liston?
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
such a good photograph.
Doesn't matter. We do a bit of sport here as well. We do it everywhere. Stephen Rowe does it, of course, best in the sports show. Used vehicle stock always changing at North Point, Toyota, Hillcrest, Prospect and Port Augusta. It's the North Point way. We want to talk, this is the other fun joy of the morning. You can talk about Royals. You can talk about sport. We also get to talk about wine. That's because we like to talk about Adelaide events. And there's one coming up a little bit later this year. Chardonnay May.
Chardonnay May.
It sounds like something that we should have had for a long time. Jared String is the president of the Adelaide Hills wine region. Jared, how comes it taking this long to come up with Chardonnay May?
Morning, gents. Thanks for having me on. Yes, it was a little bit of brainstorming going on there for the name. I won't tell you the names that didn't make the short list, but
Was one of them Chardonnay, not just for Crows fans?
No, I think Chardonnay was thrown in there.
yes.
But there were a couple thrown around. No, it's a great festival. We're really looking forward to it. It's a festival, celebrating one of Australia's most loved wine grapes.
Does Chardonnay need a bit of a PR boost though? Because a lot of people sort of stopped drinking it when it all started to taste like those pine logs that you make playground equipment out of about 20 years ago, and it got a really bad rap for being too woody, didn't it?
It did, yeah. Much like the fluoros and shoulder pads and acid wash jeans haven't come back either. So they've certainly been left very much in the 80s. So Chardonnay today is much more about a refined, beautiful wine that represents everything that the Adelaide Hills does so well, and those beautiful acid and texture and lovely stone fruits. So the style has changed considerably, and now we're certainly one of the regions at the forefront of Chardonnay producing in the world. So a good reason to celebrate it for the whole month of May.
I'll note that Anderson Hill is one of the venues for Chardonnay May, kicking it off on the 1st of May, which I think is one of the prettiest places you can go in the Adelaide Hills. I love Anderson Hill. How else can people get involved and get along to events?
Yeah, sure. So everyone can jump on the website, chardonnaymay.com.au, and there you'll see a list of all the different events. So the beautiful thing about this festival is that it's got something for absolutely everyone. There are family events, on the lawns of various wineries. There are beautiful dinners. Lots of producers are bringing out Chardonnays, from their museums and doing vertical flights over many vintages. So you can do those tastings, and because it's running for the whole month of May, people can pick and choose. They can come up on a weekday or on a Saturday or a Sunday, depending on when they've got time, and they'll be able to see a full list of events on that website. And we'll essentially have something that appeals to everyone, we think.
Sounds excellent, mate.
It certainly does. Jared, looking forward to getting amongst it. Jared Stringer, the president of the Adelaide Hills wine regions. Chardonnay May's good. Is there any other months that lend themselves to a wine appreciation, like Sovtember? 8223 is the number. Text us on the Telstra Stormont Barker text line. Any that immediately come to mind?
Oh,
our listeners are creative in this.
See, I reckon
this space.
The Adelaide Hills has actually been massively underrated as a wine region. People think Barossa, they think McLaren Vale, they think Clare, they think the Coonawarra. But the great thing about the hills is that it feels like there's no centre. Oh, that's a good one.
Andy suggested out in the producer's booth, P-November. Now, that is sensational. Let us know if you've got one, folks.
How about Hocktober?
Yeah, then we can do that.
Hocktober.
Yeah.
No one says Hock anymore.
No. 8223 Text us on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line 0448 08 1395. Let's check traffic. Enjoy huge savings and factory bonuses on the 2021 HRV at Australia's #1. Dave Potter Honda.
At Crayford, the freeway up track, that is getting busy there. A breakdown near the tunnel also causing a few delays as well. Also getting busy, Edwardstown, South Road at Dawes Road, the Port River Expressway carrying a bit of traffic this morning at Gilman. And as you're heading in at Salisbury East, Main North Road approaching Kings Road intersection, that's also carrying quite a bit of traffic this morning as well. A couple of speed cameras, Deakin Avenue, Richmond, and Great Terrace, Rosewater. Need to jazz up your day? Taste the crunch with an Aussie-grown Jazz Apple. Look for the blue apple sticker at your supermarket or grocer and enjoy the Jazz sensation. Jazz Apples, always refreshing. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
We've all been on the road trip from hell. Car breaks down, map says go this way, but you went that way, and countless are we there yet? The same can be said for home renos. Nobody wants a nightmare on their way to a stunning new kitchen or bathroom. So if you want everything to go according to plan, go with Buy Urban. They've always believed the journey is just as important as the destination. Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Visit buyurban.com.au.
Hi, Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop. We've been helping Adelaide buyers and sellers for more than 35 years. That's why so many South Australians look to us for real estate advice. Right now, we're working with 5,711 buyers in North Adelaide, 5,377 in Ross Trevor, and 5,280 buyers in Hindmarsh, all searching for their perfect property. If you're thinking of selling and would like to know how many buyers we're working with in your suburb, call us today on 8362 8888 or go to toop.com.au.
Don't worry, there's nothing wrong with your hearing. You are, in fact, hearing double right now.
Oh, what a revolution in live reads that was.
Let's
We've never
never
done
do
that
that
before.
again.
No, exactly. Now, it's all because Westside Energy are the first in SA to double your feed-in tariff. What was that song that Babs and Neil Diamond did? You Don't Bring Me Flowers? It was like a duet. Wasn't it, Will? Anyway,
Oh, yeah, it was.
The reason we were
just
singing,
thinking about
talking double, it's all because Westside Energy are the first in SA to double your feed-in tariff. That's right. They'll double your feed-in tariff. Don't talk over me again.
Get a home battery. I was just getting used to it. Connected to your current solar system. I have a whole new solar system installed plus a home battery, and Westside Energy will arrange to have the current average feed-in tariff doubled. It also applies if you have a whole new solar system and battery installed.
Double your feed-in tariff and eliminate your current electricity bill. Westside Energy will show you how. Visit westsideenergy.com.au. Some T's and C's apply.
The globe might be warming, but I'm getting ready for the next ice age. So when the temperature plummets, heat holders will be making life warmer for all South Australians and their families who enjoy all things outdoors this winter. Yep, heat holders' range of socks, gloves, beanies, blankets and accessories are popular with everyone young and old. I'm Sam Kekovich. You don't make sense. Heat holders making life warmer. Get them on you at Drake supermarkets and selected retailers.
Tonight, MasterChef serving up Adelaide's best cooks ever.
We're seeing dishes that I would be proud to have on my menu.
MasterChef starts 7:30 tonight on 10 and 10 Play on demand.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
13 minutes to 8. Our Alberton correspondent Dave Lloyd has suggested Merlot from the Servo. I'm not really sure that's what our wine regions want when it comes to the marrying of names and dates. Jason and Tea Tree Gully, you got a suggestion for the good people in the wine industry?
Yeah, g'day fellas. Heard this morning, obviously, about Chardonnay May.
I watched a classic movie last night. How about Red October?
Oh,
that's good.
Yes, we can celebrate both red wine and Russian submarines.
The hunt for Red October.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
about
good one,
time.
Jason.
We are the home of wine and submarines, so Red
Yeah, well,
October
exactly.
makes a hell of a lot of sense. In fact, it should be be
Yeah.
a South Australian long weekend in October.
Yeah, Red October.
The Red October long weekend.
Yeah. Do like sort of vertical wine tastings down at Osborne.
Oh, Jason, you're a genius. That's one
a
of the
good
best
idea.
ideas I've ever heard.
Red October.
Scott and Glenunga, you got a suggestion for the song that Australians should hear when they get off the plane? They're going to have a band there for Aussies when they arrive at 10:30 Adelaide time in Wellington. What do you reckon it should play?
Good morning, boys. I think, and I've okayed this with Dolly Parton, I think we should have Jolene, but replace it with Jacinta.
That's another excellent idea. We should start charging public servants for what's coming through on the calls this morning. Joe in Modbury North, we saw the iconic photo of the Queen at Prince Philip's funeral. What's the iconic image that you see and instantly recognise?
I reckon the landing of the moon, the Apollo 11.
With the flag.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, instantly recognisable. Hard to mistake it.
That's
You
the
look at that
moon,
and go,
all right.
oh, that was...
What was that? Where they
Is
put
that,
the flag up? Was
is that the Simpson
is
Desert?
that
No.
Iron Knob? No, it's the moon.
No, the moon. You're right. Hard to get that one wrong.
Thanks to Kim on the text line. He's clearly watching the live stream. He says, has anyone noticed Dave's trying to posh it up with shirts now? Who would have thought wearing a collared shirt can be described as posh?
Well, hang on. We'll to the question. Are you trying to dress up a little bit now?
Hey, big shout out to a couple of blokes I met yesterday at the footy, probably watching on the live stream now. They said, we watch you every morning. I said, what do you mean watch? He said, yeah, on your live stream.
David, don't dodge the question.
They've sacked breakfast television.
Are you deliberately dressing up more now?
Well, I don't know. You're dressing down after this Thursday Peter Shearer.
It's the third time you've dodged the question.
Extravaganza.
It's the third time you've dodged
I'm
it.
having coffee with someone after the show. I thought I'd try to make myself vaguely presentable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. You got an answer in the end. 11 to 8. Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News. Won't be need to be pressed for answers. Morning to you, Amelia.
Good morning. You know what? If you look good, you feel good. That's all
true.
I'm going to say. You
That's
dress
true.
how you
That's
want.
what I've been doing wrong. So, weather-wise, it's not looking great out there. We've got a lot of people, northern suburbs, it sounds like, Amelia. There's a little bit of rain.
Yeah, we've got some showers rolling through right at the moment. We've had about a millimetre or touch over a millimetre in the West Terrace gauge, about a millimetre at the airport in Noarlunga too. Not a great deal in the northern suburbs gauges just yet, but I'm sure we'll see, the numbers there rise a little. And that's we could still see more of those showers around town until early afternoon, but, I think that's might be the best of it. For now, we've got 21 degrees, the forecast top today. And then we've got a couple of fronts on the way this week. So we've got a front due tomorrow. That's going to cause showers to pick up again. We could see maybe 4 to 8 millimetres worth. And the temperatures are really going to stay below 20 degrees for the week. So 19's the top tomorrow. Drying out a little on Wednesday, still staying below 20. And then we're going to see another front sort of overnight Wednesday into Thursday. So we could see another shower or two Thursday morning. Maybe another couple of millimetres of worth. That'd be nice. We've had only about 6 millimetres so far this month, so we'll take what we can get. But then the good news is that most of the wet weather sort of wraps itself up in time for the weekend, which is how we like it here. And by Anzac Day on Sunday, it'll be a cool start, but it'll be a mostly sunny day, top of 22 degrees at this stage. So fingers crossed we can hold on to that forecast and get through the showers this week.
Good stuff, Amelia.
Good on you, Amelia. Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News.
The photos are coming in still, Will. There's a fantastic one here of the Semaphore Jetty with that. Beautiful the way it's framed, that photograph, because it's taken off what looks like the northern end of the Esplanade on the outer harbour side of the jetty, looking down south. So you've got the whole foreground of the photograph is those beautiful, long, sprawling sand dunes with all the little shrubs, and then at the end of it, the beautiful jetty popping out with the sun there. Fantastic.
Getting wacky too on Twitter with regard to marrying up wines and months. Maddie says Ferment Brewery. That's a bit of a stretch. Well, you think that's a stretch. Maddie's gone one better. More specifically, the Black Orguts Shiraz. No, I mean, it's too
Hey, that
late.
Semaphore Jetty photo can't have been taken now, unless something's gone wrong with the planet. The sun would not be at the end of Semaphore Jetty at 10 to 8 in the morning, would it?
It's unlikely. Yeah, you're right. If that is the case, we've missed the biggest story.
Going through their albums of photos they've taken at some point over the last
listen,
20 to 30
If you want to
years.
text us so we can talk about how brilliant you are on the radio, we're more than happy to do that.
That's true. That is a good photograph.
Everyone deserves to wake up to sometimes to getting lauded
Just
publicly.
don't expect to see the sun at the end of Semaphore Jetty at 10 to 8 in the morning.
No, not likely.
No.
All right, it's time for John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight Distribution, Warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
Now, children, quieten down, please. Children, Anne, Robert, Alexander, Philip, come on. Aman, Sandy, Mary, come on, stop arguing. Now, what's all this fighting?
She called me stupid.
And did you call him stupid?
Yes, I did.
Why?
Because he's stupid. I am not.
Well, you might have been stupid, Alex.
I was not anyway. Even if I was stupid, doesn't mean she's allowed to call me stupid.
But you're all playing in the same sandpit, children. You should be nice to each other.
But Alex and Jesse and Arman and all those others gang up on us. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they made a club.
A club?
Yeah, it's called Team Pit.
Team Pit?
Yeah, and when we say we want to do something in the sandpit, they say we're not allowed to.
But don't you see that if you all got along, then the sandpit would be a lot nicer place to be?
I tell them to be nice, but they don't listen to me.
Really, Sandy?
Yes, and generally speaking, I've been very pleased with the way the sandpit is running.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we've done a lot of playing in the sandpit.
Have you?
Yes, we've built some sandcastles and dug some holes.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yes, we've done a lot.
What have you got there, Sandy?
I've got lots and lots of lollies.
Oh, where did you get those from?
I borrowed them.
Oh, dear.
Yes, and now I've got more lollies than anyone in this sandpit has ever had before.
You do realise, Sandy, that eventually you'll have to give those lollies back?
That doesn't matter. If I run out, I'll just borrow some more.
Well, girls and boys, it's time to introduce a new boy to our group. Why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Stephen.
Hello, Stephen.
I've got a sandpit too, and it's a lot bigger than this one.
Now, you're not going to fight with the other children, are you, Stephen?
No, and I can make this sandpit much better.
Oh, how will you do that?
By getting rid of all these children and being in charge of the sandpit myself.
No!
Yeah, more on the sandpit after 8 o'clock, in fact. We're going to take a short break and be back in a moment.
At Spotlight, get winter ready with a massive 50% off the entire range of ready-to-hang blockout curtains. During this winter, keep the warmth in and the cold out with our huge range of blockout curtains. So you can hang it, close it and keep it warm for less.
Sail on now. Exclusions apply. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
The pieces just came together, from the enlistment form to the discharge papers signed after Gallipoli. He was my great-uncle Jack the Anzac, and now his story is part of mine.
There could be more to your story too. Piece it together with ancestry.com.au.
If the thought of this as a job drives you crazy, you might want a job like this. Here's Chris from ASIC Careers to tell you how.
Thanks, Rowie. ASIC Careers is growing, and we need more drivers to keep our promise of perfect service. So if you want a career that takes you places, get in touch with ASIC Couriers. Don't send it, ace it.
Destructive winds, sweeping storms and driving rain. When wild weather strikes, Allianz is here to help. Save up to 15% on your first year's premium when you get a new Allianz comprehensive car insurance policy online. Get your quote online in minutes. Eligibility criteria and minimum premiums apply. A 72-hour exclusion period may apply for certain weather events. Conditions apply. Go online or call for a PDS to see if Allianz is right for you.
This is a first, which makes it doubly good. When you have a home battery installed by Westside Energy, they'll double your feed-in tariff. Get a home battery connected to your current solar system, or have a whole new solar system installed plus a home battery, and Westside Energy will double the current average feed-in tariff. Double your feed-in tariff and eliminate your current electricity bill. That's right, $0 electricity bills. Visit westsideenergy.com.au. T's and C's apply.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
3 to 8. Time to check on the real estate picture. Susanna Toop from Toop and Toop Real Estate joins us. Morning to you, Susanna.
Good morning, guys.
So how's the demand holding up? It's just been nothing seems to be stopping the real estate market at the moment, Susanna.
Oh, it's going from strength to strength. And I think what we saw after Easter was that a lot more properties hit the market. So you've got just good news for buyers, but I think we'll start to see more properties coming up for auction in the next few weeks as well. But you're right, it really has. Prices are continuing to rise in a number of different areas. And one example of that is a fantastic auction in Goodings over the weekend. We saw a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom home on around 660 square metres, sold at auction for $1,335,000. And overall, Adelaide properties are spending almost 2 weeks less on the market than they were a year ago. And so the top 3 fastest selling suburbs in March were all actually south of the city, in Kernlight Gardens, Lower Mitcham and Clarence Gardens, all top the list.
That's interesting. So what are the key trends you're seeing so far for 2021? Is it mainly that sustained growth?
Look, absolutely, but I also think what's driving that is there's been a big shift towards lifestyle properties. So we've talked a lot about that over the last sort of month or so, but the 3 to 4 bedroom homes on a bit of land are very, very popular. But there's also been a huge surge in demand in regional areas. And over the last year, the number of people looking for property in the southeast grew by 44%, the Barossa by 50%, and outback areas, so over 600 kilometres from the city, by 55%. And if you're looking at the most sought-after regional areas, you saw Cleves, followed by Kingscote, Peterborough, and Marion Bay all top the list. So it's a really unique market. You've got the inner suburbs performing very, very well, so metropolitan Adelaide from the south, the inner west, sort of the north in Prospect as well as the east. But then you've also got the regional areas that are going from strength to strength, and that's a huge surge in demand we've not seen before off the back of that trend towards lifestyle properties.
Yeah, I think a lot of people post-COVID have just gone, stuff this for a joke, I'm going to get out of town. I know Mannum's grown a lot as well over the last 12 months. That council area in the Murraylands, I think it's called, has gone berserk. And a lot of people are just going for the river change.
That's right. It's not surprising. I think a lot of people are thinking, I'm going to be holidaying in South Australia for the next years, and they're wanting those properties that are sort of 3 to 4 hours away, just for that, patch of land where they can go for the weekend or, for a couple of weeks away, given that overseas travel and really interstate travel sort of off the cards in a predictable sense for the next few years.
Susanna Toop from Toop and Toop Real Estate, thanks so much for joining us. We'll chat again next week.
Thanks, guys.
Now, I've just been momentarily distracted chatting with our producer, Andy Rusgar. There's been a monumental shift in the world of international football. Breaking story that we're going to get into right after 5AA News.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy today and a top of 21 with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
A car has been torched in the southern suburbs. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson says it happened late last night at Happy Valley.
Just before 10 p.m, police and fire crews were called to Horn Drive after reports of a car on fire. So MFS extinguished the blaze, but the Mitsubishi station wagon that was parked in the driveway was quite extensively damaged. Crime scene investigators attended and deemed the fire to be suspicious.
A man and his boat have been towed back to shore after an early morning incident off Semaphore. The 67-year-old on board made a distress call shortly before 3 this morning. He'd run aground on a sandbar and began taking on water. He's now safely back on dry land and the boat moored at North Haven. The state opposition is demanding answers after revelations there have been cuts to more than 300 local hospital jobs since 2018. The cuts include 120 nurses and other frontline workers, costing taxpayers $28 million. Shadow Health Minister Chris Picton says the Freedom of Information documents speak for themselves.
The documents we've obtained reveal how frontline many of these positions are, including emergency department nurses, ICU nurses, cardiology, gastroenterology, operating theatres.
State and federal leaders will be focused on speeding up the COVID vaccine rollout when they meet this morning. Mass vaccination centres, state distribution plans and the latest advice on the AstraZeneca formula will all be discussed at National Cabinet. It's the first of more regular meetings between the Commonwealth and states and territories. Professor Nick Talley from the Medical Journal of Australia says the distribution has been improving, but there's more work to do.
Moving along a little bit better, but obviously a little way to go. We want to vaccinate as many people as possible, as quickly as possible, and that's the goal. And I guess we just have to keep changing things around to meet those goals as the goalposts change.
Well, after almost 400 days, the first flights to New Zealand under the Trans-Tasman travel bubble are in the skies. There have been emotional scenes as homesick Kiwis boarded the plane. Anyone travelling between the countries will no longer need to quarantine. Qantas Chief Executive Alan Joyce says it's exciting for passengers and staff.
It's nearly 400 days since you could travel without having to go into quarantine internationally. So a lot of people were struggling to find their passports. We're here today. And it's great news for our staff. There's 630 people that are working as a consequence of this bubble that weren't working beforehand.
Afghanistan's president says he respects the decision to withdraw Australian and American troops from his country. Ashraf Ghani says it's an imperative time for his government to negotiate with the Taliban. He says the announcement is a game changer, but not unexpected.
For us, it's a time of opportunity. For Taliban and for Pakistan, it's a moment of choice. Will they opt to become a credible international stakeholder with rules of the game for a peaceful Heart of Asia and connectivity, or for opting for chaos?
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Flurio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
And with everything footy, it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Yeah, let's start there. Adelaide's players will recover today following yesterday's disappointing 12-point loss against Fremantle. Dockers midfielder Andrew Brayshaw says it came down to perfecting the basics.
We've put 2 really good home performances in, and we just wanted to replicate the way we go about it in the week away. And I think we really did that. Everyone really had a big week in terms of their prep. Watch East Division, recovery was really strong.
The Crows are still in the top 8 but have slipped into 7th spot. Port Adelaide, meantime, is 4th following Saturday night's hard-fought 28-point win against Carlton, but could be without Dan Houston for an extended period after he hurt his shoulder in the match. Meantime, more bad news for the Crows after their AFLW Grand Final loss. Angela Foley has ruptured the anterior cruciate ligament in her left knee. The acting captain landed awkwardly during the third quarter. She's expected to go under the knife in the coming week. Well, Max Verstappen has won the Grand Prix at Imola overnight. Meantime, it's been announced the Formula Ones will head to Miami in 2022. Dan Ricciardo came 6th in that Grand Prix overnight. To soccer, and Adelaide United's drawn its match against Sydney FC 2-2 in the A-League. Meantime, Leicester will play against Chelsea in the FA Cup final after a hard-fought 1-0 win over Southampton. Queensland has claimed the Sheffield Shield title, thrashing New South Wales by an innings and 33 runs in the final in Brisbane. And in some tennis news to finish, Roger Federer has confirmed he'll play the Geneva Open as he steps up his preparations for the French Open. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, 2nd year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Look out for praying at Eagle Farm this morning. Montague Road near Walkleys Road. 3 cars involved there. Crayfus, the freeway uptrack. There's a breakdown near the tunnels that is causing some delays. And getting busy on the drive in Edwardstown, South Road at Dawes Road. Port River Expressway carrying a fair bit of traffic this morning at Gilman. And Salisbury East as you're heading into town. Main North Road approaching Kings Road intersection quite busy this morning too. Specsavers is giving everyone with health cover $50 off lens options like smudge resistant, polarisation and more. Offer ends April 28. Conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
21 today, partly cloudy. Showers tomorrow 19. Wednesday, partly cloudy, also 19. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In the last hour on Adelaide's 5AA.
Hugh Whitfield, who for 7 News over the weekend was covering the funeral of Prince Philip.
When I first saw those pictures from inside Windsor Castle in the lead up to the funeral itself, I was kind of taken aback at the scale of it. And it was scaled back, but there was still a huge amount of pomp and ceremony that went with farewelling the Duke of Edinburgh, and everything about it was so much him.
Melissa Leong has joined us on 5AA Breakfast ahead of the launch of MasterChef.
There are definitely dishes that we've encountered this season, and we're not even done yet. We're in the Northern Territory at the moment filming the very, very pointy end of this season. There are dishes that are 3 Michelin star worthy, and without word of a lie.
Chardonnay May.
Chardonnay May.
It sounds like something that we should have had for a long time. Jared
yes.
String is the president of the Adelaide Hills wine region.
Yeah, a little bit of brainstorming going on there for the name. I won't tell you the names that didn't make the shortlist, but yeah, no.
Was one of them Chardonnay, not just for Crows fans?
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
7 after 8, getting great suggestions through from listeners about other months that might be co-opted by the wine industry. Jay says Septempraneo. I actually think that has legs, That's a tremendous idea. But between Septempraneo and Red October, we've got the back half of the year largely covered.
Pete suggested White Christmas. I like that one.
Yeah.
And also Joe says one for October, Halloween Hermitage.
That
what about
works
that?
too. That works too. Hey, there's just a massive sports story breaking that has ramifications globally. It's broken just in the last few moments. There's a release that was put out from the Super League. The Super League. 12 of Europe's leading football clubs have today come together to announce they've agreed to establish a new midweek competition, the Super League, governed by its founding clubs, AC Milan, Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, Chelsea, Barcelona, Inter, Juventus, Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester United, Real Madrid, Tottenham.
So they'll all play.
Are all founding clubs of the Super League.
So it'll happen concurrently with the EPL. So there'll be EPL games going on, and these 12 sides, and also the leagues in Spain and Italy, and they'll be playing these other games too.
I think the Super League intends that to run concurrently with domestic leagues and existing competitions, albeit I'm not sure how it's possible when you've got the Champions League and UEFA competitions generally in the middle of the week. That said, UEFA have responded to the announcement. UEFA being the governing body of soccer in Europe. They say every club and player participating in the Super League will be banned from all UEFA and FIFA competitions.
Wow.
UEFA will sue every club participating 50 to 60 billion euros. This is...
So it's not going very well then.
Well, that's just...
This is like what happened with rugby league in Australia times 100, given the money that's involved.
This is... So the clubs involved say... And I'll read from the release. The pandemic has shown that a strategic vision and a sustainable commercial approach are required to enhance value and support the benefit of the entire European football pyramid. In recent months, extensive dialogue has taken place with football stakeholders regarding the future format of European competitions. The founding clubs believe the solutions proposed following these talks do not solve fundamental issues, including the need to provide higher quality matches and additional financial resources and overall football pyramid. There are the biggest clubs from England, Spain and Italy involved. There's no German clubs there, so that just sounds like they haven't got any to sign on initially. There's talks there'll be 3 more that are expected to join the Super League shortly. But this shakes the foundation of the biggest sport in the world, because if you take UEFA at their word that they will ban players participating, the Soccer World Cup can't go ahead. Well, it certainly won't go ahead the way, because the biggest players in the world all play for the biggest clubs. So can you not can you have
that preclude them from representing their nation? So if you were,
they'll be banned from all UEFA and FIFA competitions.
So like Ronaldo couldn't play for Portugal,
Messi couldn't play for Argentina.
Jeez, good for Australia.
Yeah, things are looking up all of a sudden.
Right.
Big story. 10 minutes after 6. No doubt, Rowie have more up in the 5AA Sports Show a little bit later today. Let's get to breaking at 8 here in Adelaide.
Well, this is very much at the other end of the spectrum, a bit of a sports story too, not for elite athletes, but for the tens of thousands of hackers like me who, when they go for a social hit of golf, automatically choose the North Adelaide golf course or golf courses, because there's 2 courses there that have become a much-loved part of our recreational life here in Adelaide over many, many years, the South Course and the North Course. Now, the public reaction, particularly from those people who play on either of those courses, with the South Course being far and away the most popular because it's the nicer of the 2. This council plan, on the face of it, begs 2 pretty significant questions, and the feedback that I was reading this morning before I came in online suggests that the City Council has quite a bit of work to do in order to win hearts and minds. So the plan as it stands is they're going to replace 2 18-hole courses and the little par 3 course down there by the river with 1 18-hole course, 1 12-hole par 3 course, so you lose 6 holes there on the existing par 3, and then this weird thing called a 6-hole executive course. Now, I'm not sure what the appeal is of having a 6-hole course and why it's called an executive course. Is that for people who are busy in the office and can only go and play for an hour and a half? But I don't know, 6 holes feels not like a golf course to me. It feels like a place you go to practice. But anyway, part of it is a response to increased demand. I don't know how you satisfy demand by getting rid of 12 holes, losing 6 from the par 3 and 6 from the North course. Now, the new mega course that's going to be designed over a 3-stage process involves redoing both the South and the North courses. So carving all of that up to make this new 18-hole course, I think it would be tactically foolish if the council thinks that it needs to create some new whiz-bang world-class course there that's up there with your Grangers and your Glenelgs and so on. Because the appeal of the North Adelaide Golf Course is that it's for people like me who borrow the left-handed set of clubs off their dad. You know, you don't have to be a pro to go out there. It's fun, it's friendly, it's affordable. Affordable is a key thing. But speaking of being affordable, how is it that the council, which is in a parlous financial state, it's one of the only city councils in Australia that's in strife financially. So the last 2 years, the council has lost about $500,000 running golf. What's happened is that because of the pandemic, numbers have gone up. So this year, the council is on target to make a $40,000 surplus, which in the scheme of things is loose change. So you lose $500,000 over 2 years. You look like you're going to make $40,000 this year. So on the basis of making $40,000 for the very first time, they're now thinking about spending $55 million. $55 million to upgrade a course that a lot of lowly hackers like me think's pretty good as it currently stands anyway. Then, of course, there's $60 million that they're going to spend on the aquatic centre, but we'll leave that one alone.
Yeah, that's...
If only there was a plan B for that one.
If only we had a business to pitch to them. 14 minutes after 8. Coming up in a moment, live in the 5AA Breakfast studio, we're going to be speaking with a world champion and multiple world record holder. And what's more, they're going to be able to demonstrate what they're world best at live in the studio. And you can watch it live on the Facebook and YouTube live streams. I encourage you to get on board to watch this, because I think this is really going to be something. That's coming up in a moment. But first, let's check traffic thanks to Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, second year running, davepotterhonda.com.au.
Look out for residual delays from an earlier praying at Engle Farm, Montague Road near Walkleys Road. 3 cars involved there. Crafers on the freeway, it's quite busy there. A breakdown near the tunnels with speed restrictions in place. And busy on the drive into at Fullerton, Glen Osmond Road, city-bound. Edwardstown South Road at Dawes Road. And Gilman, the Port River Expressway, carrying quite a bit of traffic this morning as well. It's less than 3 weeks until supercars are back. So, what are you waiting for? Get your tickets now to the OTR Super Sprint at The Bend. Tickets at thebend.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie Sports Show.
Talk about a waste of talent. Former #1 draft pick John O'Patton, he's retired from AFL, effective immediately. This was all on him. He's apologised for his inappropriate behaviour towards women.
4 p.m. weekdays.
As a dad, I've got 2 daughters. One's 26, one's 23. And I know what he sent. They sent to my daughters. He got a knuckle sandwich from me. So, mate, we don't need you in the AFL.
Rowie Sports Show on 5AA.
Get in here. It's Sheeds. We don't have the time to mess around. We can't afford any more downtime, and we need a result. It's about trust, and for hydraulic hose repairs, Ryco 24/7 are the ones. They'll get to you wherever you are. Their vans are on the road with fully qualified repairers, and they are supported by that other great South Australian team, BL Shipway, who I've known for over 30 years. Call Ryco 24/7 on 133247 or visit ryco247.com.au.
Have you ever heard the saying, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey? Well, it could not be truer than when it comes to home renovations. It's hard to get excited about a new bathroom or kitchen reno if the whole process has been a living nightmare.
Not so at Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, where it is all about the journey. Now, you're in safe hands with the guys at Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens. Coxie and the team go to amazing lengths to ensure the process is trouble-free. From meeting Tammy, affectionately known as the Boss Lady, through to their incredible design team and millimetre-perfect tradespeople who are the tidiest tradies you'll ever meet. And what's more, they're on time.
Start your journey to a stunning and worry-free home renovation with Urban Bathrooms, Kitchens, Flooring and Shutters, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Visit buyurban.com.au.
When you're gone, who gets your vintage 1951 Telecaster? Who gets the jewellery handed down from your great-great-great-grandmother? Who gets the other things that were precious to you? If you don't have a will, you'll never know. Donlan Lawyers specialise in wills and estate planning. From the simplest to the most complex, you can trust Donlan Lawyers to help protect your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com.
At Spotlight, get winter ready with a massive 50% off the entire range of ready-to-hang blockout curtains. During this winter, keep the warmth in and the cold out with our huge range of blockout curtains. So you can hang it, close it and keep it warm for less. Sail on now. Exclusions apply. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
Tonight, MasterChef serving up Adelaide's best cooks ever.
We're seeing dishes that I would be proud to have on my menu.
MasterChef starts 7:30 tonight on 10 and 10 Play on demand.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
18 minutes after 8. If you are near a computer, if you've got your smartphone next to you, do yourself a favour and jump on the 5AA Facebook and YouTube live stream right now, because we are joined in the studio by a world champion, a world record holder. Jaden Coggins, good morning to you, mate.
G'day, Dave and Will. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you in, Jade. Now, I'm excited about this, mate. I know nothing about the sport of... What's even the name of it? Cup stacking? Is that what it's called?
The people in the community would probably call it sport stacking or speed stacking, but cup stacking's fine if you don't know it too much.
Yeah, right. I clearly don't. Let's go with speed stacking. Sounds a lot more exciting.
How'd you get into speed stacking? Where'd this start?
Yeah, so I was in kindergarten, around 6 years old. I was on the Victorian-New South Wales border in a town called Barham, so I just got the cups at school, just started stacking with them, and yeah. But then a few years later I moved here, and then I asked my mum and stepdad Adam for a set of cups after I started stacking the plastic cups you get out of your drawers, your regular, your everyday drawer, everyday cups. And yeah, I just haven't stopped really for the past 10 years.
Now, people often, when they're kids, they'll get a footy for Christmas and, because they like football, but that doesn't mean you're actually going to play in the AFL. At what point did you realise you weren't just having fun, you were actually incredibly good at this?
So around 2013, I came in and it was like, I'm getting close to the Australian record to my mum. So.
Oh, hang on. So you just at home were timing yourself going, you know what, I'm kind of might be the best in Australia at this.
Yeah, maybe not best in Australia at that point, but definitely was feeling like I could be a pretty solid person down the line.
So how do you win at an event? What is it? It's just purely timing? Is there a judging element?
Yeah, so there's a judge there. You'll have a regular person judge that will judge your times, and yeah, you have to be judged clean, which they'll hold up a green card, and it'll say clean, and then the WSSA, which is the governing body, has to review those times for if it's a state record, a national record, or whatever. Yep. So then they count it.
How many people do it around Australia, mate?
Yeah, it's just me at the moment, pretty much. Unfortunately, yeah, it's just me, pretty much.
But internationally, it's got a bit of a following. Clearly, people get into it overseas as well.
Yeah, I think I can't remember the last count, but they had 630,000 people with the Stack Up Challenge 2019, right. I think.
Oh wow!
What world records do you hold?
So I used to have the online cycle world record, which stood for like 6 months before my idol William Morrell beat it.
Him.
He got a
I hate that guy.
he got a 4:93, and I had a 5.050 seconds, which I got twice.
Where's he from?
The US.
Yeah.
He's sort of like the Tom Brady of cup stacking, that bloke, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's up himself.
No, he's actually a very nice kid. Yeah, he's actually very nice.
Yeah, well, you got to say that. You're just being diplomatic.
Yeah.
We don't want to motivate him. We're trash talking him from across the globe.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was your world record. Do you have other records?
I think I still hold a divisional world record for like the online divisional world record for cycle. My 17 to 18 mile.
Yeah. What's the cycle?
So I could just show you.
Yeah, how about you
let's do
demonstrate?
it.
And
Let's
people
get the
on the
cup
live
stacking
stream can
underway.
watch along Facebook and YouTube, and we'll get Jaden demonstrate. This is I don't know. Have we ever had a world record holder in the studio with us before? I don't think so.
No, not of this caliber.
We probably hold a world record in something, but it's probably not something we would ever want to talk about. All right, I'm going to stand up and have a look at this. We've got the cups.
I'll just show first. So 3, 6, 3, down.
Hang on.
What happened then?
Now,
I'll go slower. Hold on.
my God, is that you going slower?
That's me going slower. Yes.
See, I commentate for sport
Yeah.
in my spare time.
Yeah.
My words can't go as fast as your hands go.
Yeah.
I don't know
Call,
what.
Will. You should try to call it.
Jaden's got the cups now, 3, and as they look in the standard formation, he's just moved them around, and he's applied, and a lot of speed is going on, and I don't know what in the hell's just happened. But holy smoke!
That was a 6 in the middle. There was 2 6s.
I look.
That is something else.
So you clearly have to stack them in certain formations and groupings.
Yes.
And that's all standardised, I assume.
Yes. There's 3 different events.
So there's 3 different events. Did we just see all 3, or did we see one?
We saw one. So
How long did that process take you to assemble and disassemble, do you think?
That was 9 seconds, but I can go like 6, which I'll see if I can do now.
This is unbelievable.
That's now we should
wild.
point out there would be the standard desk heights and equipment and whatnot. You've just walked into the studio and done this. I can't. It blows the mind how fast your hands move.
Yeah.
Can you make like margaritas and stuff as well?
I'm not Tom Cruise.
You're not Tom Cruise.
Hey, when's your next
stunning, mate?
Have a seat and we'll get you by the microphone again there, Jaden. That was just mind-boggling to see.
Thank you.
When's your next big comp?
So I've got one in a few days. So it's on Anzac Day actually, and it's hosted by WSSA Singapore, which basically like the governing body, but like they have their own Singapore, like the Singaporean version of it.
Yeah, right.
But yeah,
Are you up against this American bloke?
I don't. Unless he decides to enter at like 2 a.m. in the morning, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, well, good. I think he's running
good
scared.
luck against
He's
him.
running scared of you, Jaden. I think that's what's going on. Hey, mate, all the best. Love to have you in. Thanks for doing a demo for us as well. That was
Thank
phenomenal. We love laying claim to having world champions here in this town.
Yeah, totally.
And
And
you
is there
are
like a
undoubtedly
website?
that.
Is there like a website where people can watch you, mate, or like if they just typed your name into YouTube,
Yeah.
would they be able to see you doing your stuff?
Yeah, if you type my name into YouTube, you'll find a lot of videos.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Jaden Coggins, folks, JAYDYNCOGGINS, and his amazing cups. I've never seen anything like it, mate. That was superb.
Thank you.
And you're on. Andy tells me, our producer, you're on the ABC recently.
Yeah, so I was on the ABC for a documentary called Stackorama.
Stackorama.
It's on ABC iView, actually.
Excellent.
Good on you, Jaden.
We normally don't plug them, mate, but we're happy to do that.
Yeah,
because you're
Yeah.
such a
Hey,
terrific young bloke.
We're here to celebrate greatness. Jaden, great to have you in, mate.
Thank you.
Good on you, mate.
This week at Foodland, Australian skinless chicken breast fillets, just $7.99 a kilo. Winner, winner. Till April 20th, while stocks last.
Foodland, the mighty South Aussies, yeah.
With half off flights, it's time for a full-on snorkel, full-on rainforest, or a full-on bite to eat. Plan your full-on holiday at australia.com. Book with your airline or travel agent of choice before tickets sell out. Terms and conditions apply.
End of financial year at CMI Toyota means great deals on Toyota certified pre-owned high-ace vans, in stock and ready for immediate delivery. At just $49,990 plus on roads, these 2020 plate high-ace turbo diesel vans have low kilometres and are ready for work. Plus, ask about our great finance rate for ABN holders. Visit CMI Toyota today. Oh, what a feeling, Toyota. Conditions apply. Rego 1SS2LX, LVD 2009.
Hey, how about we all head to Jarmer's Kitchen before the big game?
Awesome!
I might order a Chateaubriand.
Dad, you know that's just fancy for Angus pure beef tenderloin. Slow roasted, served with triple cooked casserole potatoes, green beans, mushrooms, roasted shallots and béarnaise sauce.
Yeah, I know that. I just like saying Chateaubriand. Chateaubriand. Jarmer's Kitchen. Fancy, made easy.
Now, we all like to buy Australian when we can.
Now, old fresh pork sold here is 100% Australian. What most people don't know is that the majority of ham and bacon in Australia is made using imported meat. Now, that seems a touch un-Australian.
I can't think of anything more un-Australian, frankly. If you give a damn about Australian ham and bacon, now there's a way you can make sure that what you are buying is fair dinkum Aussie.
Take their passports, I say.
Yep,
Simply
exactly.
look for a full bar chart under the green and gold kangaroo on the packet. If you see it, then you know it's made using Australian pork.
This is a total no-brainer. Why would anybody want to buy non-Australian pork? So when you buy Australian pork, you're supporting Australian pork farmers and helping secure Australian jobs.
To make sure you're buying ham and bacon made with Australian pork, simply look out for the green and gold kangaroo on the packet in your supermarket today.
At Specsavers, we know we could all use a spare pair.
Where are my glasses?
Luckily, you can get 2 designer pairs, no gap, from the $199 single vision range with selected health funds. Only at Specsavers. Conditions apply.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
28 after 8. Well, we've just seen true greatness in the studio.
We have.
People on the 5AA Facebook live feed just reacting with wow. Tom says that's skill. David, amazing. Antoinette says unbelievable. Go Jaden. Deborah says absolutely amazing, Jaden. Belinda, wow. Jaden, brilliant.
That was terrific. It was really, really good. He's a lovely bloke as well.
Yeah, he absolutely was.
Yeah.
All right, let's do Fuel Watch thanks to Dave Potter. Fuel ranging between the high $20s to the high $40s. You can still grab it a little bit cheaper, though. We found a couple of places for you. The Ex-Convenience Semaphore Road Exeter, $1.19. The Ex-Convenience Commercial Road Shido Park, $1.20. The Liberty North East Road Windsor Gardens, $1.14. BP on the Run Henley Beach Road Underdale, $1.19. Coming up after 8:30 this morning, the host of Channel 7's Sunrise program, David Kosh. And also, we need to fill a spot on our program, David. We got an opening, but there's not a lot of job openings.
No.
We've got correspondents in the UK, in the US. We've got court reporters. We've got political experts stationed in Canberra. When something happens, we like to think we're across it.
Yeah.
Except there's one area where we're not.
We like to think that we're across it.
Where we like. That's why I just emphasise the think.
Are we looking for someone to work with Dave from Alberton? Is it a job like that?
No, it's not. It's
Okay.
not a job like that. Last night, something big happened on Married at First Sight. There was apparently there's a social media storm.
Yeah, right.
We are totally out of our depth on this subject matter. We haven't got the right expert, but I'm sure that person is listening. Can anyone call in on 822 300 and tell us what the whole world's talking about? In a way that we and our listeners that are similarly naive or ignorant to the goings-on of Married at First Sight will understand, and therefore mean everyone who's listening that doesn't know can go to work or catch up at a coffee shop with friends today and be across the zeitgeist.
Yeah, you don't want to look embarrassed, do you?
Exactly. You want to know, I
You
heard
don't
something
like me
about
when
that.
people talk about Star Wars and you're just going, oh, yeah. Oh, I love them. Chewbacca. Yeah.
It's true. She was great. It's a true story. 822 300. We need a Married at First Sight correspondent just to explain to us why whatever happened last night is significant, because we don't know. We'll do that in a moment.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy today and a top of 21 with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience, with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
A serving police officer will face court today on assault charges. They're alleged to have occurred across 4 different incidents involving 4 different people between August and December last year. The officer has been suspended. Water Operations Police have rescued a boatie in distress at Semaphore. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson says they received a call in the early hours.
Western District Police received a distress call from a man on a yacht about 200 metres out from the Semaphore Surf Club. He claimed that he'd been making his way to North Haven Marina when his boat ran aground on a sandbar and began taking in water.
The boat was towed back to North Haven where it's been secured. The skipper, a 67-year-old Encounter Bay man, was not injured. A car's been torched at Happy Valley. The alarm was raised on Horn Drive just before 10 last night. The Mitsubishi station wagon parked in a driveway was extensively damaged. Investigations are continuing. The for sale sign is going up on SA's dedicated COVID facility. Kerry Turner reports.
Tom's Court in the CBD will hit the market this week. Developers are keen to offload the 14-storey hotel while the property market is hot. It opened as the state's only Medi hotel back in February. It is understood the existing contract with the state government to house the medical facility will be honoured post-sale. Only last week, another Medi hotel went up for sale. Pepper's on Weymouth Street is expected to fetch at least $75 million.
For the first time in more than a year, Australians can now travel to New Zealand without having to quarantine. Nine's Harry Spicer says the two-way travel bubble has kicked off.
International borders were slammed shut the moment COVID-19 became a serious global threat. With both Australia and New Zealand now having the virus under control, a travel bubble has been established, allowing people to cross the Tasman provided they don't have symptoms and aren't waiting on a test. Kiwis have been able to travel to Australia since late last year, but the New Zealand government hasn't allowed visitors until now. The travel bubble is expected to provide a valuable shot in the arm for the tourism industry and reunite many families.
Ahead of its national release this Thursday, the premiere of the Mortal Kombat reboot was held at Marion last night. Filmed on location in SA, it's the biggest screen production in the state's history. Innovation and Skills Minister David Pisoni says 524 South Australians now have their first international Hollywood screen credit.
We worked for Warner Brothers in helping to build the set, for example. 819 local cast and extras were employed in the production and 180 in post-production.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fleurieu Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
And some breaking news with Tom Wren.
Yeah, and this is a bombshell too, Mel. It's dropped on European football with the announcement of a breakaway Super League involving the continent's heavyweights. English clubs Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool, Manchester United and Manchester City have all signed up for the midweek competition. Barcelona, Juventus and the Madrid and Milan clubs have also joined. Now UEFA, FIFA and the English, Italian and Spanish football associations are all condemning the competition and threatening to block its inception. Manchester United great Rio Ferdinand has told BT Sport it's a disgrace driven by greed.
This is, for me, a war on football. This is it's a disgrace. It's embarrassing. And it goes against everything that football's about.
Yeah, watch this space on that one, that's for sure. Let's go to football now, and Adelaide coach Matty Nix is confident Taylor Walker will be okay to play against Hawthorn this Sunday. The former captain went into the match with a calf complaint and looked sore as yesterday's match wore on, but Nix insists he should be okay.
I think most are a little bit sore, but at this point, nothing medically. I think he got through the game and was pretty strong and solid.
The Power will await to see how serious the shoulder injury is meantime to Dan Houston. The 23-year-old hurt it during Saturday night's win against Carlton. Meantime, Ben Cousins will play football for the first time in a decade this year. The West Australian is reporting that the Brownlow medalist will play in the Metro Football League for Queen's Park as he attempts to get his life back on track. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, second year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Look out for some residual delays at Ingle Farm after an earlier prang. 3 cars involved in that. Montague Road near Walkleys Road. Crayforth, the freeway uptrack. There's breakdown near the tunnels causing delays. Speed restrictions in place. Getting busy too on the way into town. Fullerton, citybound, Glen Osmond Road. Edwardstown, South Road to Dawes Road. And this morning, Gilman, the Port River Expressway. That's carrying quite a bit of load this morning as well. With half off select flights, plan your full-on holiday at australia.com or book with your airline or travel agent before they sell out. Terms and conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi Solitaire, Metro Dealer of the Year. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
A partly cloudy Monday with a top of 21, showers tomorrow 19, much the same again on Wednesday and Thursday. Right now it's 13. More news as it happens on 5AA.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
24 minutes to 9. We have a job opening. We haven't had any applications yet. We need a Married at First Sight correspondent. The show had its finale last night. It averages over 1.2 million people watch it every single time it comes on.
Maybe the Venn diagram of 5AA listeners and maths viewers is does not overlap, Will.
I think people think we're taking the mickey. But we generally, because our aim every morning is to make sure the good people of Adelaide know everything that's going on in Adelaide and around the world. Well, there's a giant gap in our knowledge, so we need to know there's a controversy. Apparently, people think the whole thing's been faked.
Oh, really?
I don't know the detail, though. We need a correspondent. Call us. We'll give you a $100 Wohlers gift card if you can fill us into what happened. 8223 0000, or text us on the Telstra Storm Out Parker text line 0448 08 1395.
We're getting quite a lot of feedback about the Adelaide City Council's plans to completely redo the North Adelaide golf courses. One here from Dave M. He says maybe the 6-hole course is purely for people who live in North Adelaide. Surely they wouldn't, even the council wouldn't go down that path, Dave. And Pete from Westlake Shore loves the idea of a 12-hole golf course. He says it sounds great to me because I might be able to go around in under 72 shots for once. I feel your pain, Pete. Plenty of messages too about the royal Prince Philip's funeral on Saturday night. There's one here from Oz in Norton Summit who says, thank you, Pembo. I was watching the funeral and I felt like I was 200 years ahead of time watching it in virtual reality or something. The music, the camera angles, the location were captured in a way that made me say to my wife the next morning to make sure to check it out and that it was almost hyper real. I thought maybe it was just me being tired, so thanks for mentioning it. I'm wondering what it is you and I are picking up on. Who knows?
Kane Mount Barker has called in to be our correspondent. Good morning to you, Kane. Thanks for answering the call.
Oh, most welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Now, what the hell happened?
Well, who would you like to know about?
I don't know any of the people, so you're going to have to really dumb it down for us.
Presume no knowledge here, Kay. That's my tip.
No, you don't have any?
No, okay. I've never watched it.
No, but there's some sort of controversy, clearly. Can you tell us what controversial happened last night?
Well, there's quite a few LIAR.
Liars. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So far, so good.
Yeah, I think it looks like it may have been staged. Because if you knew about some of the people, why would you stay with them? Bryce is a liar. She's got blinkers on.
Bryce is a liar. Mel's got blinkers on.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So how do you win the show? Do you end up getting married?
No.
No, they get married in the first place. Yeah. They get married at the beginning of the show. Then they have to spend 3 months with each other. And then they have to decide if they're going to stay married.
So, Kay, is your sense that if people knew what was going on, and they clearly sounds like they knew there was some sort of bad behaviour going on, then in real life they wouldn't stay together, but they stay together to make some good television. So the whole thing's a bit phony.
Oh well, especially at the dinner parties, there's some, like things going on, like throwing water or drinks over somebody else across the table. People don't. People wouldn't put up with that.
Yeah.
So, no, and there's others have had friends out of the show. So there was, at the very end, the girl went home to Perth to supposedly look after her sick dog and ended up pashing a so-called friend from outside, and the blokes didn't even know. They
You can't do that.
Well, they did. And he was actually distraught at the end, and Jake wasn't a bad bloke. He spent the 3 months trying to get to know this girl, and she had someone else on the outside.
That's not right.
I might sound like I'm channeling my late Methodist grandfather, Eric Charles Penberthy here, Kay, but do you think that these programs demean the institution of marriage and encourage fornicating?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, guess what? 1.2 million people watch it. Drew and Glenelg, good morning.
How are we?
What went on last night, Drew? What's the talking point?
Well, look, this Beck girl had been giving other people grief the whole series about cheating and loyalty and lying, and then she's gone home and deflected it all season and then done it herself.
Aha.
Yeah, right.
So was there a gotcha moment? Was she caught out?
She was caught out and said, "Oh, no, it's all right. It was just my brother."
Well, that's a new level of
That's
weirdness,
actually illegal.
isn't it? Yeah.
That's illegal in mainland
Drew,
Australia.
thank you. We're getting a picture of what went on. Julie in Manningham, anything you want to add as our Married at First Sight correspondent?
I'm ashamed to say yes.
Well, fill us in, Julie.
Don't beat up on yourself, Julie. We all need an escape.
No, I'm not quite as sympathetic as Gay was. God.
Well, hit us with the truth. Hit us with the truth bomb,
I'll get to the
Julie.
truth. All right, I'll get to the bottom line here. I'll be hard.
Yeah, good.
Bryce and Melissa, God, they should have just called it Bryce and Melissa. That's what they should have called the whole show, because every dinner party, everyone talked about Bryce and Melissa, which was totally boring. And if you think they're not filming it and editing that show into some sort of schmozzle of oh my God, look what she did next. That's what they do, like the girl that they were just talking about who went home to her dog, which is hilarious. They said, the thing in the roof, that where you go up in the roof to fix things.
Yeah.
That was sort of half open. And they said, what's happened to the roof? And it's like, who cares what happened to the roof? She's on a bed with a dog and pashing off another guy, It was hilarious, honestly.
Hey, Julie, I think you've got the future as a correspondent. That was good
What do you
stuff.
reckon? What do you reckon here, hey?
I think that was excellent,
terrific,
Julie. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was great. We need more segments where listeners who are experts and stuff teach us about it.
Yeah,
that was great. I enjoyed that.
Totally. And it saved us the trouble of having to watch the program.
Yeah, that's right. So
that's why I like Gogglebox so much.
We've got this other thing now called federal politics. If anyone wants to watch that really closely and just give an update every once a month, that'd be tremendous.
Maybe Adelaide City Council meetings too.
Yeah. Oh, we don't hate our listeners.
No.
8223000 is the number. You can text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. It's time to check traffic thanks to Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, second year running, davepotterhonda.com.au.
Busy in quite a few spots on the drive in this morning. Medindi Main North Road approaching Nottage Terrace. At Fullerton Glen Osmond Road, pretty busy this morning. That's city-bound. Edwardstown South Road at Dawes Road carrying quite a bit of traffic this morning. And Salisbury East, you're slow going there. That's as you head into town. Main North Road approaching Kings Road at that intersection there. Obviously, the work's having a bit of an impact there too. Switch and save on your car's servicing and repairs at Automasters. With over 20 Automasters branches, call 1300 Automasters or visit the website to find one near you. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
I'm Kathy Nagel, the Chief Executive of Western Hospital at Henley Beach. We are fast becoming a hospital dedicated to specialist orthopaedic surgery, with orthopaedic surgeons trained in modern robotic technology to assist in reducing your time spent in hospital. Plus, coupled with our zero out-of-pocket joint replacement options means there's no gap payments for the surgeon or the anaesthetist for eligible surgeries for eligible health fund members. Enquire by calling 8159 1200 or visiting westernhospital.com.au.
At Spotlight, get winter ready with a massive 50% off the entire range of ready-to-hang blockout curtains. During this winter, keep the warmth in and the cold out with our huge range of blockout curtains. So you can hang it, close it and keep it warm for less. Sail on now. Exclusions apply. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
Never before has a number meant so much. The 19th at West, a stunning home and land release. They'd call it the 7th if it was in North Adelaide. Offering uninterrupted views across the manicured fairways of the Grange Golf Club or looking over the green open spaces of West's Linear Park. This is as good as it gets, folks. It is just stunning.
Yeah, Will and I went out a few weeks ago and checked it out. It's absolutely fantastic. And the good news is you can choose from 2, 3 and 4 bedroom architecturally designed homes priced from just $708,000.
Whether you're looking for a spacious family home, a new outlook as you downsize, or a beautiful step into Adelaide's property market, you'll enjoy a lifestyle that's truly above par.
And as you can imagine, these stunning homes will be selling fast, so act today and secure your future in a truly beautiful part of Adelaide. Visit the19thwest.com.au.
At Lendlease Retirement Villages this May, the kettle's on for personalised tea and tour appointments. See homes, community spaces or learn about contract options. To book, visit teaandtour.com.au or call 1800 550 550.
If the thought of this as a job drives you crazy, you might want a job like this. Here's Chris from ASIC Careers to tell you how.
Thanks, Rowie. ASIC Careers is growing, and we need more drivers to keep our promise of perfect service. So if you want a career that takes you places, get in touch with ASIC Careers. Don't send it, ace it.
Tonight, MasterChef serving up Adelaide's best cooks ever.
We're seeing dishes that I would be proud to have on my menu.
MasterChef starts 7:30 tonight on 10 and 10 Play on demand.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
13 minutes to 9. Leon Biner coming up after 9 o'clock. Morning to you, Leon.
Morning, Will and Dave. After 9 this morning, we're going to do some very simple arithmetic, and it's boiling down to this. How does $1.2 billion in energy subsidies end up as $2 a week on your bill? So I reckon a lot of people would want to know that. And also we'll talk with the very respected obstetrician, Dr. FIVEaa, about the stuff you need to be told about the women's and children's. I just make the point that if we've got a lot of money for a stadium, we ought to have the money to resource our hospital. See you after 9.
Yeah, no one will disagree with that. Good on you, Leon. Leon Biner coming out in about 15 minutes' time. The host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Koch, joins us each and every Monday morning. He had Alan Joyce from Qantas on his show this morning, and I imagine, David, that he would have been a pretty happy man with the Trans-Tasman bubble opening.
Yeah, he is pretty happy, and I think the 660 Qantas workers that are employed on that route were pretty happy as well, coming back into a job and all the extra staff at the airport. So just lovely to see and hear all the stories of people going across to New Zealand and those arriving back across to the first flight that came in from Wellington came into Melbourne. It was sort of reminded you of that of the moments in Love Actually at the airports, and you get reminded that sort of it's so many people haven't seen grandkids, kids, have missed anniversaries, have missed births of children. It's just been huge, this pandemic. So to be able to see loved ones overseas is pretty special. So hopefully it goes without a hitch and stays that way, and we can start establishing a few more bubbles, and also an incentive to get vaccinated. Sort of if I hear one more time, oh, it's not a race, I think I'll doom a block. It is a race for the economy, for people's lives, for people working in the tourism industry. We've got to get our act together.
Did Alan Joyce say anything to you, Koshy, about the domestic tourism market? Because my understanding is it's picked up quite well, but he must still feel somewhat unnerved. And you mentioned the vaccine rollout. I mean, there's still a risk that we could see outbreaks that force state premiers to shut borders and stuff the whole thing up.
Because we're coming into winter.
Yeah.
You know, that's when this breeds. We've seen what the second winter in Europe has done, and the big spike in numbers. So hopefully premiers have learnt, and some of the premiers who are quick to pull the trigger on border lockdowns have won their elections. Not to be cynical and say that, You know, they were playing to the electorate to get re-elected. But hopefully that's behind them now and they can become a bit more sensible, I think, in containing it. I think we can learn a lot from what New South Wales does, is sort of locking down hotspots rather than entire states. Queensland has started to do that as well, and that seems to be working pretty effectively. But the big thing is to get vaccinated. Like the Americans are doing 3 million a day. I've got a daughter living in London. She's 32, and her vaccination is coming up very soon. They sell at the chemist shops over there for free. It's government subsidised COVID testing units that tell you within 30 minutes whether you got COVID. So if you've got a sniffle or whatever, you can do yourself rather than go out somewhere else. So many countries are doing this, the vaccine rollout, way better than us. Yes, we did the containment side, the best in the world, no shadow of a doubt of that. But in terms of the rollout of vaccine to get herd immunity, we've been really slow. The UK, I think, will reach herd immunity in 2 weeks' time.
Have you managed to pinpoint, do you think, Koshy, where it all went wrong with regard to the vaccine rollout, or did it take all tiers of government working together to stuff it up this badly?
I think it was mainly the feds, I've got to say, who are not in the business of delivering health services. The states deliver health services. But the feds wanted to be the knight in shining armour to say, we're here, we're getting you all vaccinated, it's in our hands, we're driving it, give all the credit to us, that I reckon stuffed it up. And, you know, you've got premiers saying there are times that we weren't informed when a couple of 100,000 doses of the vaccine landed on our doorstep, just landed on the doorstep. No chance to plan or to put the logistics in place to distribute it to the doctors or the vaccination hubs or whatever. It just landed. So it's become a bureaucratic nightmare, and hopefully this national cabinet meeting, which is now meeting twice a week and we're told is on a so-called war footing, will sort this out. And they just work together rather than have a race to claim any glory for their own political benefit. It's too big an issue to let politics get involved, and unfortunately I think politics has got involved.
Yeah, you're dead right there. Hopefully these meetings will take some of the heat out of it. David Koch, host of Sunrise on Channel 7. Great to catch up with you, mate. We'll talk again next week.
Look forward to it. Thanks, guys.
Stephen Marshall texted in earlier specifically about the vaccines. I didn't get to read this out, but according to the Premier, he said 114,000 doses already administered in SA. The run rate is increasing. Our first mass vaccination clinic opens at the end of this month at the Wayville Showgrounds. So hopefully the catch-up can continue or start.
Well, that's some good news. Behind closed doors in a moment, 6 to 9, before the end of the program. So in the next 6 minutes, David is going to reveal ingredient number 2 in a dish that could win you $2,000 thanks to MasterChef. We've had one ingredient. If on Friday you're the first caller through and you guess what the recipe's for, $2,000. Simple as that. Stay listening. It's coming up in a moment. First, behind closed doors, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight, distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed...
Weekend Breakfast with Angie McBride on 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
Hello everybody, it's Angie McBride with you. I hope you're having a lovely weekend. It's getting cold, isn't it? But I don't want to turn my heating on at home because I've got indoor plants and they might not like it too hot, so I've been sitting at home freezing while my plants all laugh at me. Andrew Peacock has died at the age of 82. It's very sad. I don't know much about Andrew Peacock because I was only a kid when he was in politics, so I don't know much about him and whether he was a good premier or not. Was he ever premier? I don't think he was. I only ever saw him on TV a couple of times. I was a kid, so I don't know much about him. No, he wasn't premier. No, he was federal, wasn't he? Was he ever prime minister? No, I don't think he was. No, he wasn't ever Prime Minister either. Makes you wonder a little bit about why everyone's saying such good things about him if he wasn't Premier or Prime Minister. I was only a kid, so I don't know much about him. You know, I wasn't even born when Christopher Columbus discovered America accidentally, but I still know more about him than Andrew Peacock. So I suppose when I say I don't know much about Andrew Peacock, that will go down as the understatement of the morning, really.
Boy, it's tonight.
At FIVEaa, we know you're looking for value. That's why when you combine your new eligible home insurance with your car insurance before May 14, you'll save 20% on the second policy. Double up and save today. Call FIVEaa on 13 50 50 for a quote or visit FIVEaa.com.au. T's and C's apply at FIVEaa.com.au, including full eligibility criteria. FIVEaa is an authorised representative of AAI Limited, the product issuer. Before buying this insurance, read the PDS. Contact us for a copy.
Don't just get a forklift. Get a Toyota forklift. When you need a forklift, don't just get a forklift. Get a Toyota forklift. Get the world's #1 forklift brand. Get legendary Toyota reliability. Get world-leading safety and get it from toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For sales, service and hire, get a Toyota forklift.
Keeping your business connected as you grow from here to here. It starts with a business mobile plan that helps you work on the go. Search Optus Business today. Great business starts with yes.
Take out a new home loan with Credit Union SA and you get to choose cashback or
a really low rate.
you can also choose to apply online, over the phone, in branch or we'll come to you. Credit Union SA, awarded Australia's best small credit union in 2020 by Mozo. We're like a bank, but better. For a limited time only, conditions, fees and lending criteria apply. Offer available for new business only where the LVR is 80% or less. Minimum loan amounts and exclusions apply to each offer.
When people walk through the doors at Pals, the first thing they say is wow. Not only because of the size and the selection, but also because of the team. Sam and Jamie have tasted every drop. They and their team can recommend a whiskey that's just as good as that hard-to-find Japanese one, if they don't have it, that is. Or a beautiful red that's reminiscent of that outstanding cellar door you once travelled so far to visit. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
2 to 9, we spoke with Melissa Leong from MasterChef a little bit earlier in the program. It's back tonight, 7:30 and 10, and 10 play on demand, which means you can actually watch it whenever the hell you want after that point. They're serving up the best cooks and the best food ever. And what we're doing, along with MasterChef on Channel 10, is giving you the chance to win $2,000 at the end of this week. All you need to do is determine what Pembo's secret recipe is. You'll give out 2 ingredients a morning, one at a time. And if you get them all and you can piece together what it is you think it's a recipe for at the end of the week and you're the first caller through, you'll win $2,000 cash.
Drum roll, please. Ingredient number 2 is onion. So the earlier one was salt.
You know what? Hang on.
What?
You can't. You got to. We can't recap the whole time. We've got to reward the people that listen all day long.
Oh, okay.
The
So
loyalists.
this is for the real hardcore 5AA rusted ons. And anyone who isn't, just get rusted, folks. Because if you want to win the $2,000, all right, so I'll let the cat out of the bag for today. The first one was salt. The second one is onion. But tomorrow, you got to listen the whole time because otherwise you'll miss the ingredients. There'll be 10 by Friday. If you know anything about cooking, it will become abundantly clear, I reckon, from about clue number 8, what I'm talking about.
Even if you don't know anything about cooking, you'd still call in on Friday and have a stab in the dark.
Yeah, you might want to ring up and say...
Black Forest cake.
Yeah, Yumbo. Oh, we've got to talk about that tomorrow. The Yumbo is back at Hungry Jack's.
I don't know what the Yumbo is.
You don't know what the Yumbo is?
No.
Mate, where have you been?
Do we need a Yumbo correspondent? Or it sounds like you're full bottle on this.
We'll do a segment on it tomorrow.
Okay, all right. Excellent. Leon Byner's coming up in a moment. We'll catch you tomorrow morning from 6.